มื่อกี้มันต้องรอดีเลย์เนี่ยเปลี่ยนเป็นไลฟ์ใหม่ยังน่าจะเปลี่ยนแล้วมั้ง
Ava, 2-player advantage to work around with for Fnatic, but you're not expecting that execute just yet.
After getting two picks towards the B side, you'd assume the easy option is just to go, like, listen guys, we've got rid of two players towards this side of the map, let's head in towards B, but they're faking it out, and C9 are buying it entirely.
This is so brilliant, just a fake layered on top, but Alpha leaves himself open to the wider angle. Zephyr gets that one, Boaster has the From the Shadows to disengage, but instead he's trying to calculate the smoke. Boaster, you gotta go, and he will.
Yeah, out of here, spike down, and they can set up their post plant, right? You reset and look for more space, but because they've got so much time to do it, right?
And look how quickly they take that control towards security,
ขอบคุณ
towards
มินจี
the
นะครับ
jump
เมื่อกี้
across.
นี้นะขอบคุณนะครับ
In terms of the util that you have to fight back into this one, Chronicle's still banking on the snake bite. He can bounce that one off the corner of the wall. You're set. And for C9, in terms of weapons, they managed to take down Alpha. Yeah, that's one. Moose probably isn't really going to want the Bulldog in the next, so
Yeah.
he'll engage, but go down nevertheless.
I think the big thing for me as well is C9 were able to get the kill contract from Alpha, right? And that's a big ultimate. It takes one
อ่ะ
player
กด
out
กด
of
ลงตีมา
the
นู่นไปละ
like everything, right?
กี่
The-
เรื่อง
the
เอ้าเฮ้ย
Hello?
ไหลลงไป
Yeah,
แล้ว
Zephyr just jumping off the
Yeah.
side right here. He
Okay.
doesn't want the
I thought-
pistol.
I thought
You
they
keep
had
the
two
rifle.
rifles.
Just Bulldog though, and it's,
Yeah.
it's on the
Vale.
other side of the map. I think you play the double up as long as you're expecting Fnatic to maybe peek you running out of the site, but the pathing completely different from the EMEA squad as they continue to move
ดวล
forward
ไม่เคย
closer
แพ้
to what would be their third win over C9 in their history.
There you go. The history man comes in once again.
Thank you.
But talking about the present, it's the ultimates that's the big thing to always take note of. A Viper's Pit for Chronicle and a Hunter's Fury for Sayonara. 4 are green for C9 if they want to go and use them. And well, Fnatic start to look towards the B side. Still, this is weak for C9 because there's only 2 players here and neither of them are Sentinels.
ขาจักรโหดปะวะ
Running out, players suppressed. C9, not exactly short-handed though. Playing double controller with Moose's global util, it's always going to be useful to say the least.
สายโยนาเลยฮะ
Posted up in A main with the op is a difficult hurdle for Fnatic to buy.
ตัวแบกเลยอะ
Right
ขาจักร
now, they're just trying to figure out where it is exactly they want to go, what the lay of the land looks like in terms of material on the map. That's when they only just start to now reclaim B main.
Not really seen much either, right? Like that one way goes up again. Oh, it's not even a one way, it's just a pure blocker. So Fnatic now starting to use
เหมือน
the
เช็ดบล็อก
execute
ค้างเหรอ
util.
ลองรีเฟดได้ไหม
Go in, Alpha with the double tap, leading the charge. Nice tag from Sayonara. Can't quite get the second. Vic playing around the smoke, gets his first, looking for more. Chronicle shuts it down. Fnatic on the site. C9 playing off it. Seemingly Rossi able to do damage. That's 2 from the Hunter's Fury, keeping them in front as the spike goes down.
It's Kayak that's the one to get that down in terms of what they can use. There's only 1 blind side and 2 shock darts on Sayonara. It's the 2 or 2
เป็นบล็อกในนั้นน่ะนะ อ๋อ
on the roster.
ธรรมดาปกติ
Kayak getting 2 of his own.
อันนี้เป็น
It's
ไง
up to the 16-year-old to bring it up again.
Sayonara has the reveal, can try and use this to play around. Now the cue of the drop. Knows that Oxy's up close, finishes him off without
เดินไป
any
อยู่
hassle at all. Moose,
เดินไปอยู่ไว
the
ทาลิ
other
ตี้มั้ง
side of him, a consistent player for C9, a mainstay in their America's roster last year, but it's the new boy who's teaching them some tricks. Fnatic spinning it up to a 6.
A Red Bull clutch for Sayonara. Again, we're seeing why everyone's so excited about where he could possibly end up in his career. Unreal, just the way he played that round and just how easy it was for him, right? No panic, so mature in his performance.
This is vintage Kayak that we're seeing here as well. That peak taken towards spawn on the stabilization of the core for Zephyr.
เทคพอร์ต
Slight pause as we should be heading back into things for another round where
รอแป๊บ
while the play-ins was ongoing. All of the teams have been here since minute 1. But the work that you put in needs to be reflected now with results in the server. A big investment from them on the previous came up short. Can they do more with less? Zephyr on the other side of this 0 point. The knife, in fact, sorry, coming out. It is the orb, which now Fnatic will explode from. This is a very pacey take by their books.
Dimensional drift being used has to gain the information that they need. It hasn't resulted in the kill until now. Zephyr getting spammed out, and even invest in the Viper's pit to make it more secure out towards Link. But Oxy is making sure the whole site is secure. 3 versus 2. C9 are 1 to the good.
Vic has a really strong position here as well. He just needs to wait for the cavalry to arrive.
Spike finally making its way forward. The pit being dropped indicates that Chronicle is out of it. And C9 Rossi will clean it up. A big round for C9 to win.
It's exactly what we asked from them, and it feels crazy to say that it's when Fnatic actually bring a little bit of a variation and go a little bit quicker that they can put pen to paper here from the defender's side. I was, really impressed with Oxy holding position, and for Fnatic, the supportive utility looked good coming in, but they just couldn't clear Vic.
Yeah, that's it. Going back towards mid though, Fnatic looking to try and see what's there, but C9, they're going to put some of their own players towards that side of the map, or that portion of the map.
Yeah, man. We got a little tech again.
Yeah, that's
frustrating.
We love that.
We do love it. We do love it. And so does everyone here at the arena as well. I know that we're going to be filling it out on Friday and Saturday, but you know, we got friends and family around. We got players from play-ins yesterday making the most of the experience. Just adding to it overall, because it's not too often that these teams will be able to rendezvous with one another. As much as I was saying about C9 not having been to champs for a while, it's these kinds of events that you're really going to take your time to enjoy in the off-season, and that helps build up chemistry.
Yeah, I think like just being able to chill out with the team, even if you are out of the tournament, and just hang out, create that natural chemistry, right? Eyes for the other teams, going to be sitting watching after you've played your first, say for instance Heretics, you've got a couple of hours to chill out and see what the rest of the teams are building. And I think quite a few eyes will be on how this Fnatic comp is working, right? Because it is pushing the meta, it's trying something new.
It's just giving yourself the most runway possible heading into the first flight in kickoff. And I think you see that with a team like T1 as well, another roster. Credit to their media team, put out a documentary with their experience of home ground, the Pacific qualifier that we saw, the Asia Pacific qualifier. And even from that first loss that they took, you can see how much it means to just have that environment around you. Even, you know, hell, academy players, former players like Carpe, who weren't even in the starting lineup there, just adding a boost to everyone else and picking them up when they need it. You have so much time to figure out what it is that you want to do when the new season 2025 VCT rolls back around. And yeah, look, the time is up now. We're heading back in. Let's see if C9 can repeat that success.
Well, it looked like mid was going to be a real contest between the two. That's not the case, as it's only just C9 who take flight towards there. Instead, Fnatic are looking to push themselves towards A, putting utility forward. Mush trying to use the shorty, but he only finds the fake out from Kayak.
Boo. Double up into the corner as well. Rossi was here too. A couple more kills from the fragging IGL. Yet still C9 trail from this position. Fnatic with another quick execute. They've dropped bodies on the site, but there's still 2 more to get through.
All down. Paranoia pushes Kayak even further forward. That snake bite will land towards the player behind, but it doesn't hit Zephyr. Chronicle now up above, up against Zephyr. Will easily collect and confirm the advantage on the next half for Fnatic.
The writing was seemingly on the wall with the way that the opening 12 have taken place. One, two more of those now. I like this from Rossi. He's just such a capable individual, as I said before. First time as the IGL of this team, but co-calling a lot of the time and kind of having that pressure taken off, I guess, when you already have set ideas of how you want to play. It has been hands-off from him at times, I think, in terms of the theory. I saw a great piece from Will Shobra in Pacific sort of saying one of the reasons why that T1 roster wasn't more successful at international events is the development of the theory. So I kind of want to see what that looks like later down the line. But I mean, for now, war of attrition in mid, and Chronicle is going to make Oxy bite the first bullet.
Fnatic have been really good at being able to get the entry. And Alpha
โดนอีกแล้วไฟเยอร์
and finding a player through the kill contract.
เฮ้ย
Maybe go alright, but Alpha will at least confirm that kill.
ไอ้หนุ่มคนนี้
on one of those
เอาเรื่องจัง
He just does not miss. And even when he does, he still hits the shots that he needs to. So good enough. Vic has done a pretty good job so far at dictating the pace towards this B side of the map, as has Rossi on A, but he's about to face into two players, making their way through Link. It's Alpha to lead the charge. Rossi finds one, but a little naive not to expect the second or third. Kayak right in and amongst it as well. Fnatic bearing down on number 8.
Yeah, he's following the blood trail that Fnatic have left here. And with only... Oh, hello? I was going to say only a sheriff. He's picked up himself a little vandal.
He's doubled his money.
There you go. But is it double or nothing? It seems that it will be nothing for this round.
Yeah.
Vic opting to save out Fnatic, going for a little bit of a hunt. You see Chronicle towards CT.
There is no reward out of this round. There is no prize. You don't get the reasonably priced family car. Nothing to take home with you.
Would you ever play like a bullseye? Would you ever think you'd take part?
If it was a Jeep, then maybe I would.
Hey, listen, I would be happy.
Shout out.
Shout out indeed.
But
maybe an AOC monitor.
Yeah, or a blacklight chair.
There you go.
We got everything here at Red Bull Homeground, and so do Fnatic. Round number 8 for them. Sayonara says goodbye to Vic as we move on to the final chance that Cloud9 have in this half.
คุณอาเซอร์นะครับผม
The
สำหรับ
difference
ส
between
มา
an
ชิกด้วยนะครับ
8-4 half and a 9-3 is monumental as well in terms of moving in towards that pistol round. Give yourself more of a lifeline, and after it, depending if you win or lose.
It feels like a necessity here. The same way that we saw Heretics put up that final round on split against Focus to then turn things to their favor on the side swap. It feels like a necessity here for C9 as the game is seemingly getting away from them. Fnatic showing some variance in how they want to approach this. Again, I've loved the Viper Orb in mid in terms of control and how much of an inhibitor it has been for C9, because unless they're getting aggressive, they've kind of struggled to play around it. The knife at the very least, though, taking it offline for now.
Vic not allowing himself to be revealed this time. The one way immediately goes up, and at that point, C9 begin their mid-round and get that drone out towards mid. But it's false information. They haven't seen anyone. They need to be careful of what lies towards bottom mid.
Yeah, it's an interesting one as well when Rossi has the dart available. It's seen him do it a couple of times now when you're using that drone. You can't get to bottom mid, so the trade-off for the value in terms of the information that they actually get here isn't ideal. It's all quiet for Oxy yet again. This guy is being starved of engagements, which is not what he wants.
It's not, but it's well played by Fnatic to do so. Putting him in such a good spot indeed. Still, Boaster is the one to get caught. The luck through mid as Fnatic now look to send themselves into B.
A position that you should perhaps expect Boaster to be in as the rest of the execute makes its way through. Strong arming this side of the push is Kayak. A double headshot from the player on the former mini Apex team now is up against Zephyr. Double back from him. 3-on-3 spike goes down.
Yeah, now a little pause, but with time so low, this Hunter's Fury creating delay is massive. Sayonara chops the head of Zephyr, and now we head into post.
As I said before, kind of butchered my words there, but the first graduate from Mini Fnatic, he's come over from Apex, just doing Kayak things. It's exactly what we expect. Shot just past the mark though onto Sayonara. Can Oxy have his say before the halftime bell rings? Phantom in hand, but little util to work with. It's just the updraft between the two C9 players, and Chronicle has wedged himself right in the middle. Rossi removes him. Thorn from the side. Low HP on Fnatic here, but C9 just have nowhere to go. Oxy needs 1 bullet and a half stick if there's any chance that he can win this against Sayonara. He's looking for the jewel. Sayonara's looking for the P, which he will win.
Again, the maturity of how he played that clutch. It's like he's been in this scenario a million times. He knows exactly when to swing, exactly when to take his time, and it's insane. You think he was a tier 1 player the way he played that?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, realistically, he should be.
Yeah,
like, but I think the crazy part is, it's like, you know, the soul of which veteran player before that we had has been put into this kid. Like, you know, it feels like he has lived a past life. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It is a little bit crazy at times. But our ranting aside,
เอกฟอร์มเป็นไงมันก็ดีครับดีฟอร์มดีเกมแห่งปีเลยอะ
Fnatic up 9-3.
เฟนติกมันก็คือเฟนติกอะโหมดเหมือนเดิม
Old looks just as good as the new. Boaster with his proven track record of supporting newer emerging talents into Fnatic, and the mentorship being seen in the way that they've played this cohesive so far. It's onto the shoulders of Kayak to get things started, but he goes down and is left alone by Chronicle. They're playing for the retake now.
แค่นี้ก็นานแล้วครับ
Fnatic at the same time have started to
ตัวนี้ก่อนรีเจนเขายังน่าจะยัง
deep into enemy lines. Moose is all on his own and he can't even win the first engagement. Now they send it in and upset the post plant that C9 were trying to set up. Need to be careful as now Fnatic are trying to send themselves forward. Vic holding on to main, and it's back to a 2v2. Didn't think about Chronicle being towards heaven, and Chronicle didn't think about Zeppa.
Boaster in another clutch. He thrives in this kind of environment.
Well, he'll need to thrive here. He'll need to show us something, because Zeppa has certainly been hitting heads, although Boaster will gain control of the spike. It's halved at the very least. Another tap to show that it is halved, and Zeppa gives himself up by dropping off. It is 10 for Fnatic. It's double digits.
It's frustrating for Zeppa there as well, because just as I'm ranting and raving about Boaster, who has put so much time over the previous year into his mechanical ability to keep up with everyone else on the team, especially when you bring in the young guns, but his clutch ability as well. That's something that Zeppa is more than capable of as the oldest name on this team. And another piece that you have to be looking at with Imi in the coach slot, these legacy choices that Cloud9 have continued to put faith into, are they going to repay that faith this year?
They need to. Something that C9 will need to do after this round, after the purchase, is win 5 stingers as they stand outside on the edge of A. Alpha needs to be careful, but he doesn't, because he's got the support of Sayonara. The undercut made people vulnerable, and the Bulldog gets to work.
Looking more and more one-sided, smokes in towards top site. Boaster mirrors it, TP in one tag onto the scout, but instead, look, it's the stingers that come through.
Needs to be
เดี๋ยวฟอร์สบายอ่ะเดี๋ยวนี้เป็นยุคฟอร์สบายแล้ว
And if there was anyone to do it in any kind of fashion to win it out, it would be Sayonara. Damage on the first. All 3 players are hit. They're within striking distance for the young Moldovan talent. Jumping out wide. Rossi will take him off the face of the earth. 3 from him. C9 move up to their 4th.
Me, I started to wind down thinking that there's no chance C9 win it because Sayonara has this on lock. But they managed to create a little bit of carnage towards that back side. Fnatic caught off guard, didn't realise that there was a force, and allowed C9 to get close to them.
Yeah, it was sort of a one-way put up by Boaster, hoping that the Marshal would be able to do more on the longer lines of sight, but the gap close from C9 was excellent. Oxy right up the guts in the thick of it, and now Fnatic back on pistols after what looked like a good start to the anti-force buy.
Oh, nice trap coming through. They spam out Zeppa. Sayonara once again, popping up in the kill feed. They've taken that Phantom
มาแล้วครับ
straight
เอ
to
เวอร์ติกหรือเปล่า
Look, immediately the
Electric,
duelist,
yeah.
and with the TPs, he can be here, there, and everywhere. Already backed up into Link as that kill for
ได้
Cloud9
4-6-4
comes in
เข้าร
through
อบ
the
ป่ะไม่
middle.
รู้
Fnatic want to refight this. The
3
incentive,
เกมเลยเหรอ
the catalyst is
Okay,
the double
game.
tap, which has now been broken apart as these Phantoms at longer range are just going to chew through the Fnatic forces. Alfia can throw his hat into the ring, but it'll be swiftly blown off his head if he's not careful. C9 with twice the players and twice the control now as they move over to B.
Yeah, the immediate pivot, they know where the players are now. They can get that spike down and at least look for, at the very latest, if it did get spicy, a win condition, right? Don't want to rely on deathmatch too much.
Yeah, of course. C9 with all the silver
Oxy, they
linings,
show,
silver linings you'd expect from a Cloud.
ยังไม่ค่อยได้โชว์เท่าไหร่
Now, and 5 rounds to close the gap against their
ไม่มอง
opponents.
Lossy
Fnatic
ผิด
have
ไปหรอ
ults available. Hunter's Fury for them, Hunter's Fury
Lossy
on
นะ
the other side.
ตอนแรก
In terms of how these
ตอนแรก
defenses
นึกว่า
play,
Lossy
you've
น่า
seen
จะ
a
มาเป็น
couple
ภาระ
different looks already.
Yeah, for me, C9 need to be looking at the scoreboard and thinking.
4-9 ไม่ไหวแล้วมั้ง
Fnatic have
เซป
money.
ป้า
We
เอ้
need to
ย
be careful because
เซป
Kayak,
ป้า
we've seen it before. He
Oh.
does some crazy stuff with that 4,700 credit weapon.
อดีต
And 50.
ครั้งหนึ่งเคย
Don't forget
ได้
the
ขึ้นชื่อว่าเป็น
Flurry out on the end.
โนหนึ่งไรเฟิล ENA ตอนนี้ลอสซี่แบกอยู่
I have the spike.
ครั้งหนึ่งนี้คือนานมายัง
โหนานมากละ
Fnatic have an idea about this mid space. You can see how the players are all circling around it, right? Couple of
Yeah.
pings going
Also,
out.
you know how I joked about the 50? There is no 50.
Yeah, exactly.
C9 in mid. The belly of the beast, Fnatic happy to just let them fight as much as
Ooh.
they want. The spam onto Oxy is ridiculous. The guy's already on death's door and he's barely had a chance to make his mark on this round.
They know about this, by the way, because of the drone coming out from Sayonara.
The tags, just all too aware. Or at least you'd think so. Boaster started jump spotting. He's got to turn around, but Oxy hits him in the side of the head. And with that,
Oh, look, here,
C9 have control and Fnatic,
that.
another problem in mid.
Hunter's Fury coming through. Kayak get pinged out there. But with that, he'll TP out. Sayonara gets rid of Vic. Remember, Oxy's still low. Kayak needs to be careful because Oxy's so good in heads-up gunfights.
30 gets a haircut.
Spike planted.
Sayonara still floating around middle, was thinking about the possibility of a flank, but he's given up vent in the process, puts Moose on this strong off angle. Hard to predict, even harder to hit. Zeppa with the next, and just like that, C9 in prime position to add another round to their tally. They keep chipping away at the cliff face. And Alfia in a position where it's just too hard to get anything done. His work is cut out for him on 27 points of health, looking to bail from this situation now.
Yeah, you respect that from Alpha. Not wanting to give too much away here. And thinking about what the next round looks like, because Fnatic, their buy won't be great. C9 starting. Oh, hello.
Okay, I'm not going to lie, I thought Zeppa was going to kill Alpha there, but when all is said and done, he's the one with egg on his face. So there you go, double digits still for Fnatic, but C9, they're really starting to pick up on this.
ที่ 4
It's exactly what we were saying. They're getting Oxy into
มีโอ
strong
กาสอยู่นะ
positions, and the support network behind
เกม
them
แรก
has
แม่ง
been
บักอะ
airtight.
The point that I was
Back
going to
away.
make just before we
ก็
saw
ของ
that from
ของ
Zeppa
สแครปมัน
was
เปลี่ยน
that
เป็น
Fnatic's
ไอเทม
buys
ใช่ป่ะ
been broken, right? They're on the defense.
แล้ว
They
พี่ไป
don't
กด
have
ขาย
that
ตัวไอเทม
means
มัน
to
หายไปเลย
actually bolster that economy. And the other aspect to that is C9
สองชิ้นนะ
now
Joined your
for
channel.
every round that they
เดี๋ยว
win
พี่
ฮะ
would put
Yeah,
into
yeah.
a strong
กดแรง
position
ว่ะ
to
พี่
win too,
ก็
right?
เดี๋ยวที่ดูแข่งอยู่
แล้วเธอ
It's buy one get one half price.
Yeah.
Demon
They're
แล้วก็
actually
กดได้เหรอ
taking that away. Did you
เอ้ย
know?
ไวไป
At least
พี่
in the UK.
Really?
You don't get that anymore. Yeah, I
That's
know.
a
It's
disaster.
ridiculous.
ออกซี่จะได้โชว์แล้ว
Here we go. Fnatic in the site.
พี่เห็นพี่บูมเปิดกระ
คู่นี้
ชาย
ขอ energy น้อยหน่อยนะ
ยังเลย
กูเมื่อกี้
เปิ
มั
ด
น
ก
ไป
ด
หน่อย
3 ทีอ่ะกด
ไม่ได้พักผ่อนเลย
3 ครั้งไม่ใช่ทีละ10นะ3 ครั้งได้จริงเอ้ยได้อันนี้25 เหรียญนะ
บ้าจัด
แต่แต้มที่เหลือๆอยู่ได้กด3 ทีได้
พี่กดอีกFnatic fighting solo and it's actually working out 3 versus 2 situation now both C9 players backed up in main
They can pick up the rifles on the site as well, Hazza, because those players are in main.
Who's going to possibly try and give this one a go? Zeppa's vulnerable inside the smoke. Only a couple bullets of spam needing to land on his position. Defuse just a tab. Vic's fallen off the map. And Chronicle now with a real serious chance against Moose. The one-on-one between the controllers and Moose will nail him. C9 continuing to make steps towards that round total.
You can never count Fnatic out. C9 weather the storm. It wasn't Vic that fell. It was Alpha Air that fell off the map, unfortunately for them. And Fnatic, well, they have seen enough, or Elma Puddy has specifically. He's going to cause call a pause to things.
So chaotic, man. I was like, what even happened there? I hope we have a replay. Oh, we do. Yeah, here it is. Oh, he was trying to make the jump. I think he crouched a little bit too early. That's unfortunate. Yeah. For a second, I thought we had a POV. Production would have been evil for that one. But no, C9 happy to capitalize off the back of this. Coming into the timeout, they have more ults, in fairness.
Yeah, I think we know exactly why Elma's called a pause to things. Maybe people trying to be too spicy. But with that being said, yeah, the ultimates is going to be a big part of
เกม2 เกมที่ขอ energy น้อยนะไม่ไหวปวดท้องละ
That it definitely is. 4 on the bounce for C9. And had we not gone to a timeout, I probably would have asked you when do we expect to see one. So I think it's come in pretty aptly for Fnatic now.
But I think for me, coming into the next couple rounds, it's how well C9 can space their ultimates, and straight away we are into a tech pause.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours.
So many can
when I say pause, I meant like downpour, not this kind of pause. But honestly, yeah, man, I think look a little bit more time to think. I suppose I wouldn't say that Fnatic necessarily need it. They're very efficient with how they use these pauses.
Yeah.
For C9 though, honestly, the biggest thing that I can say to them right now is just the fact that they've bounced back in this second half, because a lot of people would have written them off, but they have a clear game plan and it's working. I mean, look at Rossi, 19-9.
Yeah, and to feed into that a little bit, a lot of the theorists, the nerds for Valorant have always said that Abyss can find itself being attacker-sided because of how weak B can be. And yeah, like just from that aspect, I'm now just starting to wonder, right? Like they spilt water earlier. Are the players just having a water fight or something like back there?
I don't know, man. It's a water fight if you go outside. Take part. You know, I wouldn't possibly add more fuel to the fire. Honestly, I really don't think. Yeah, that's something you want to be doing. You know what I do want to do? I want to go back into the game. And we've just had confirmation that we should be heading back in very shortly. And that is exactly the case. 15 seconds until round number 18 commences. C9 on the back foot for the majority of the first half. Now they find themselves in the driver's seat on a big swing round with some ults in play.
I mean, C9 should have an idea that Fnatic do want to get this up online. Kayak has immediately bought it up. And well, straight away, Chronicle has managed to get the Viper's Pit online before the knife went off.
As long as you rip it from the spawn barrier, you're always going to be able to get that in front of the suppress. And it's good control because it's allowed Fnatic to play off the back of that.
Yeah, but they're forcing C9 into the op. It's all up to Kayak now. What can he find?
Have to wait a moment before we get our answer. Alfia is in behind this as well. Boaster will join. Little information through middle right now. It's a complete stalemate. The C9 biding their time, waiting in the wings for that introduction, which could very swiftly turn into a dismissal from Kayak's operator. A game of chance as he was looking for the timing towards danger, but the execute is now coming in, and he's the one off site. It's Alfia instead, all hands on deck.
Hunter's Fury as well, and players are actually pinged out through an info dart, trying to play through the cosmic divide. It's still all even on either side. A little bit of a pause to allow the spike to go down. We head into post.
ให้ส่งก็เป็นอดีตโน้นหนึ่งหน่อย
Spike will run out, and then what is there beyond that here for C9? They do have the Astra utility towards the spike. It's a interesting plant
เนี่ย
towards
ไอ้วันเวย์ตรงนี้เรา
backside,
ไป
I
ยืน
think. No,
ยื
it
นบน
isn't.
คื
It
น
is
เนี่ย
just
โค
the
ตรโกง
default
เลย
one, but the star is yet to be used. Finally drops down, but Kayak's already up close and personal. Vic's not going to see this one coming, but still, he is aware of it. Acute
นี่ไง
meets his maker at the end. Sayonara one back. The Gravwell just slightly off of his position. They can now start to work. So what, 2 versus 2 still from this position. They've managed to get it half down to the one-on-one. Sayonara's been so good in these so far. Up against Moose, he will continue to try and bait him in, but Moose
ไอ้มูดนี่มัน
stands tall
ตัว
yet
ถึงได้
again.
อย่างได้
Yeah, brilliant from Moose to win out the 1v1. Just again, another thing. Just every time he peeked, Sayonara tapped the spike, and it kept going through that cycle. I just couldn't help but laugh. But yeah, in terms of what we saw in that last round, though, Hazza, was C9 did use a couple of the big ultimates.
They're always happy to invest, I think, and it's kept Fnatic honest here because in terms of what we saw from them, it was the pit, the op came out. Kayak, after that first shot, took a moment to really see him present again. After winning that first engagement, the duels not as favorable with C9 steadying themselves, backside control, playing Fnatic at their own game now with a lot slower rounds, just waiting down the clock before they make their move.
Yeah, as the competition has got a lot more closer towards the top and Swiss in terms of where we are with the partnership teams, we're starting to see these best of ones get longer and longer towards the end of regulation. C9 are now starting to look at mid, see what they can find from there.
Sayonara's been playing Vent for most of this defender's side, and
เฮ้ย
the first times you actually see
เดินผ่านไปกันเลย
take
แล้ว
a look beyond that, spots
Uh.
nothing, deep line Kayak. Fnatic can make a calculated gamble now towards the B site. It's the same push that we saw in the previous. They just don't have the weapons to defend it this time.
Yeah, Chronicle has got a lot of utility to contend with, and his wall drops at the wrong time as well. Moose is holding on to the back lines. And
Moose
he's
มัน
been
เดือ
a
ดจังอะ
real
นี่คือมันเอาคนเดียวเลยเนี่ย
You've got to be looking at Kayak, who's in the spawn of the attackers.
มูดแม่งมันอยู่คนเดียวเลย
Into the late round, and he's got his finger on the
นี่ไง
pulse, but it'll be a flat line for him as Kayak wipes him from the board.
แล้วเจอบอสไง
Twice the number, and they both come from the flank, but just as soon as Fnatic are making that incision, look at C9 on the opposite side. This is brilliantly well read. Great protocols.
Exactly, being proactive, knowing that they've lost space, so they have to go and take it. Having in their control, they can look towards that later. They know mid is clear now, and they know exactly where the last two are. Time is low, and well, it's you looking to try and get rid of as many rifles as possible, but it's C9 who rid the server of any orange and black players. We are within one Hazza between these two teams.
It's getting close now, man. This is a brilliant execute from C9 for what it's worth. A slight variation in the utility fragment backside. Nothing that Chronicle can really do there when the offensive screen goes back down. Decent work to try and claim some kills at the end for themselves, but didn't buy enough time for the spike detonation either. So the rich get richer. C9 starting to build up some economy here. Fnatic with another investment. Ults available. A huge opportunity for them to put some distance between the teams now.
Yeah, Oxy being aggressive. He's moving with purpose.
นี่ไงเซ
Zephyr
ป้า
gets
เอาให้ละ
Sayonara, but
เย้
Kayak gets the opposite
อ้าว
duelist.
ไปแล้วเซป้า
Killfeed has been a bit been a bit active, but it's
He bought.
and it leaves Alpha to pick up any pieces that was left in this round.
Vic just didn't move. As we all held our tongue, Boaster just walked straight into it. Now Alpha 1 versus 3. You're going to find this one really difficult to win. I mean, look, Vic is on the other side of the map. Had he got a clean engagement on Moose there, there would have been half a chance, but you don't even want to use the ult because if you do, you're just a sitting duck for whoever is outside of the ISO realm. Until towards the spike, pulls him by the scruff of the neck, but here's Vic round the
ไม่
backside.
เล็งอยู่นาน
And with that, 10 to 10 from the 9-3 half.
Yeah, all even. Fnatic have been really struggling since they won out that pistol, and C9 have just been rolling with the punches. That's big, right? We've even had a timeout from Fnatic. They've made a stop and they're still not able to win out.
7 rounds in a row, man. It's insane. Rossi, 20 and 10. Vic behind him. Like, for what it's worth, I don't think Oxy has had the craziest of games, but he's still been a key component in going in and being a point of contact, a point of trade. The util has been really great to get him into those kinds of positions in the first place. Fnatic going against the grain here. Nice shot from Kayak, and he is out without a trace of damage, his own direction. Rossi forced to call from the spectator screen for the next minute 20.
The big thing is as well, they know where the spike is, right? They know that C9 hadn't made up their mind and where they wanted to go.
And you kind of expect that as well, because how many of these rounds now have they been playing at such a slow tempo? Fnatic only really themselves starting to speed up towards the end of their own attacking half. And it suited them well for what it's, you know, it has suited them well.
Something that Fnatic can use for the mid-round. Well, one, the owl drone, which is a massive bit of utility, but it's the fact they also have the dimensional drift, right? They can use that owl drone early because they have that from Kayak.
And as we sort of said before with Fnatic, liking to bring new ideas to the table, maybe the off-season, historically not a place that they've demonstrated that. At the very least, we had a great attack side look from them, and now you start to pose questions about this defense, really, and what kind of combinations they can give to us here.
No destruction.
Brought in by Alfia, has the Bulldog to try and work with, looking to try and find that second pick, and he just wins every single time in his ult. Couple of missed shots from
มัน
Oxy.
ใจถึงว่ะโอ้โหอะไรอ่ะ
He's hit everything.
บ้าจัด
He has come to life in the blink of an eye.
คอที่ขึ้น
Chronicle trying his best. It's not enough. The ace from Oxy.
Man, has he got aimbot? Can we check his PC? That is insane. How does he hit that?
Which one? Every bullet magnetic from the magazine. 1, 2, 3. He even hit a shot onto Alpha's shield there as well. Just when Fnatic looked like that retake had some legs to it, that there was a possibility there. We come back to another timeout.
เป็นอาติกสบายๆป่ะพี่
สบาย
ไม่สบายเลยตอนเนี้ย
ล้อมบุกทั้งคู่ไม่มีเซนทั้งคู่
แต่เปเปอร์เล็กเมื่อกี้มันจริงว่ะพี่ มันสุดมากอะ
โคตรมันเมื่อกี้ไม่ได้เห็นอะไรเลย
ไม่ได้ดูด้วยโอ้โหเสียดายเกมมันโคตรมันอะมันโอทีไปยันแบบ18-16อ่ะพี่
I think we're going to get another replay of this Oxy ace and the spray which he picked up, but C9 have put themselves in the right positions to get that kind of luck. It doesn't come without the graph before.
Yeah, a reset before what could perhaps be Fnatic's final chance to be an opponent, a worthy one of C9, because at the minute,
Oxy 9
they're going to keep marching on. Towards mid we go once again. Oxy at the forefront. Kayak trying to see if he can get an engagement himself, but it doesn't come. C9 show presence and immediately dip out.
Kayak just waiting edge of the smoke. Headshot
Oh,
to Vic, spotted the second player on the left-hand side of attack
ทัก
spawn.
ทาย
เป็นนิมิตใหม่ที่ดีครับ
Fnatic have info, but C9 are still laying deep. This attacking perimeter is bunched up at bottom mid as things stand.
Yeah, they're forcing Fnatic have forced C9 to go and re-clear this space, right? It's a standoff between the two. They're thinking about the dimensional drift, but instead they're going to plant Alpha Air so deep in mid.
I love it. Fnatic fighting head on. C9 potentially thinking of extremity aggression, but Fnatic have pretty much stayed the same from start to finish in this round. Fnatic now 3 players strong towards B. The spike not looking any closer, and I think Rossi might be trying to fake this out with the drone, as that has usually been the telegraph for their execute here.
30 seconds left.
All the utility has been sent forward, a snake bite to delay from Fnatic, and they need to try and beat this cosmic divide. But when they do, they'll realise, listen guys, it's actually towards A. It's Boaster that's here by himself, used his ultimate to give an idea about what was happening deep in main.
Yeah, I can't even get any closer to that one then in terms of any kind of flank. You do have Rossi still lurking around mid, seeing if Fnatic would have been going for a retake from the lower side of the map themselves, but that's not the case. It is 4 players, 5 in fact, out through security, and they've already started to lock it down.
They still have the heaven space, the smoke drops in Chronicle wins. Now it's up to the 2 left on C9. It looks like it's going to be a clean sweep. It's a flawless to answer Oxy's ace.
Fnatic do not put a foot wrong in the rifle round. After that clutch that we saw previous, Oxy coming in big and just in the guns.
Someone dies.
Brilliant stuff. Regulation, the extent of it, all guaranteed here on home ground. And just the fact that it's flawless as well is such a boon to the economy.
Yeah. Boon to the confidence, right? You might have that little bit of doubt coming out of, what, 8 rounds in a row?
It's insane. I don't think we've seen a streak like that so far, even in play-ins, to be honest. Actually, I lied, that was when BBL lost, but the less said about that, the better. Into the next one.
Over there.
Combo util ready, Alpha with the undercut. Hunter's Fury in. It's a nice set piece on paper, but it's landed no result.
โดนเอาฟอร์เชอร์ไป2 ลูก
It's forced C9 to respond and at least keep themselves there. At the same time, Kayak deposited in towards A main gives this passive information, right? That Fnatic know no one is near there and they can lean heavier to the B side.
Now, that's the value that you get from it. Fnatic, as you say,
แพทใหม่นักแข่งน่าจะเล่นแฟนทอมกันตรึม
stand. C9 playing a lot of the same macro.
ยังไม่ลองเลย
Looking for a mid duel, seeing if Fnatic want to play
Kayak
on the
doesn't have a
ไม่รู้ว่า
aggressive.
เกาะ
Here
ใหม่
is
มันจะ
Kayak.
มี impact ต่อเกม
TP not yet
เยอะขนาด
placed
ไหน
as you mentioned.
ผมว่า
but
ไม่ค่อย
it
ดี
matters
พี่
not. He
สำหรับ
gets away
ผมนะ
scot-free. And now Fnatic have an idea as to where C9 stand.
ยิ่งในแข่งยิ่งยากเลย เพราะว่ามันเน้นเทรดกันอยู่แล้ว มันไม่มีใครมานั่งโลแล้วแบบ
No drone just yet.
เว้นแต่เราแบบว่า
The reveal comes
anti
in,
eco
though.
อะไรเงี้ย
You
น่าเล่น
will
นะ
know the 30-second timer just now hit. C9 on their execute towards the A site. Mid duel about to go down. Alpha yeah, peeking into
เอ้ยเอ้า
this shot. Moose not able to hit that one. When he
ไอ้
does,
เกาะ
Alpha yeah is prepared. Sayonara from the vent now. It is a
มูดบอกกู
split
เซ็งเลย
retake from Fnatic, but they're going through the motions and finding the kills. 3v5.
C9 are just given 1v1s and Fnatic have been winning them. Well, for the most part, 2 out of 3. Still got Oxy alive, and so is Vic. We're back to even just for a moment before Vic takes the advantage for himself. Oxy compounding that, looking to take 12.
เป็นไปได้
C9 will hit map point first.
What a
โหดจัด
turnaround
อะ Oxy
from
อะ
Cloud9. Oxy given up fights. Vic as well. All of the names that you would have wanted. This is so
ไม่ยิงคอเสื้อ
He's just threaded a button onto his shirt there with that bullet. But now looking at it, I mean, yeah, Fnatic felt so disjointed in that retake once they had the advantages. These are the kind of positions that you always see them convert from. One more to force OT. They've got the money behind them, but do they have the answers?
The big thing, Haza, is that there's people one off of ultimates, right? That's going to be a deciding factor. Kayak respecting the fact that the
เวลา
Navys
วัยรุ่น
caught
เอง
him,
อะไม่ค่อย
not
ได้ดู
wanting to
เท่าไหร่
go further forward and take a chance.
เห็นแต่ตัวเลข
Kayak just flashing it. And the flash of the gun muzzle the opposite way. Statement of presence, C9 noted main once more.
Yeah, but he also heard the jump, right? So he should know that there's 2 there, and Fnatic are starting to get an idea of where C9 are on the map.
Spike drop.
As the footsteps echo elsewhere,
Oh, mid.
Fnatic are collecting information of their own. Althea with this walk down yet again proving to be so valuable. The null command will go off, but it's an empty site. Nobody's home. Fnatic preparing for this retake, but Moose has been so good at guarding the back line.
โอ้หวานจริงอ่ะอุ้ย
Fnatic need to be careful and clear below them. The paranoia is being
Ui,
sent
back.
either way, and it's Vic again who takes that initial pick. C9 look to take that best step forward and
board
win
for what
out
footing?
their first series. 2 to the good.
Great opportunity for them to do so. It's Oxy again. The blades coming in. Sayonara one back, but this post plant is so scary to try and deal with.
It is. 2v4 has and a Hunter's Fury to rely upon if you're C9. This is looking all but confirmed. They're looking to send themselves to one and all. Not
Okay.
before
GG.
Chronicle at least get one. That's it. C9.
C ใน
G2 Karmine Corp มันจะเบรกนานไหมอะฟุตกับT1ต้องฟุตปะ
ฟุตดิ คนใหม่โหด
ดูครับผมยาวๆ
To wins.
คู่ต่อไปคืออะไร
That's what we want to see from Fnatic, but for Cloud9, this is a statement win for them because while a lot of people said that their appearance at Sen City Classic maybe wasn't what we had hoped from them, that there was, you know,
E2KC แล้วก็ T1
map loss there. We wanted to
คู่
see
ท้าย
them do it against international caliber opponents, something which we haven't been able to get from them in the last few years. With this still being the off season, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, but you can see what those win conditions are with Rossi, with Oxy, and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, 100%. Now we've got a look at this. We kind of were speaking about it. Do you think this is a step in the right direction from Fnatic with the way that they were playing their comp?
I like the Fnatic comp again. I think it's just what we said before. We need to see those ideas fleshed out on the defense and how they want to take information across the map, how they want to rush mid, for example, because I think Alpha had a lot of life in that position, getting into the midst of it, and even the retakes, really, when you have that kind of ability. What do the set pieces look like? What are the protocols? It all takes time, and time they have on their side, thankfully.
Yeah, and what do you think of the comparison between the two controllers, right? Because we've seen two different takes on like the Viper, a double bubble, right? What are you coming out of that with it?
Again, looked really good on the attack side. On the defense, I don't think we saw the full value of the Viper utility in terms of the decay, the snake bites.
Yes.
All of that stuff, the stopping power to hold back C9, but one person who will be very happy with this result, and I can already see him grinning off to the side as he watches back the ace, is Oxy, who's going to join us for the interview. Firstly, congrats, mate. How are you feeling after that one?
Honestly, holy moly. That is actually crazy. I don't even know what just happened. 3-10 comeback, was it? 3-9? 3-10?
Yeah, 9-3.
Jesus.
It's ridiculous. Firstly, the ace, we all saw it. It was pretty nuts. What's going through your head when you hit that one?
I mean, honestly, I don't even know. I'm gonna say it. It was luck. I won't even lie to you. The fullest shot, I don't even know how I killed him, but I don't know. I just shot my gun and killed them all. Hey.
Hey, listen, what more can you ask for, man? Fnatic put some interesting ideas in that game. What was your take coming out of it? What was your guys' like response to how they were playing that composition?
Honestly, we knew that they're going to use our mid a lot on attack, and Jesus, we didn't adapt well on it on defense, on our defense, and they were just abusing our mid and stuff like that. But on attack, I don't honestly don't even know what happened. We just kept winning every single round, and they were just playing retake every single round, and we saw it like in the first few rounds, and then we just kept using it. We kept winning the post plants and stuff like that.
Yeah, obviously you guys will want to improve on that first half. And for you as the duelist, I suppose, you kind of want to be taking engagements as much as possible. On the attack, do you feel like that's where you feel much more comfortable with this team and with Rossi calling as well?
Honestly, both sides are very comfortable. But
เขาสัมภาษณ์อย่างนี้กันเลยอะ
First round, I swung mid in U-Haul, and Alpha just double one cast me with a classic. I'm like, this guy's the fucking goat.
Fair enough, man. And how's the off season been for you guys? Because like it's been a long journey, I guess, coming out of Americas, not getting to participate in champs. What's that been like?
It's been a long, rough season. The off season, we started well, winning the Red Bull Homegrown Invitational.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's
it's playing.
Yeah, the play-in, and we qualified obviously here to Berlin, and then we played the Sen Invitational, and we got 0-3, and Lord have mercy. Honestly, I don't even know what happened, but so, yeah.
It's all good. You put it behind you now, and you look to the future. Of course, you move to the 1-0 bracket. Heretics are already there. We have a chance at maybe a few other names joining you in that stage of the competition. And look, you win there, and you're already in the audience games on Friday and Saturday. So, how are you feeling about that? Any teams that you're looking at playing in particular?
Honestly, I would love to play Heretics because one of my good friends is really good friends with their friend, Bendy Fishy, because they played Fortnite together, and yeah. And also, Neil Zeno was one of my first coaches like long time ago, which is he's now the coach of Heretics, so I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be good, man. So, yeah, with that being said, like coming into it, is there anything else that you guys are looking forward to? Patch notes being released, trying to get everyone's like view on how that looks.
Honestly, it's a little bit crazy with this regen shield, and also, what is it? They nerfed Omen like crazy. You can't do one ways on a half. Like we were scrimming on the new patch, you can't one way like half the map now. So it's like a really big change. And also, I mean,
Yeah. And how's Berlin as well? I feel like, you know, cheap question, but as a player who's like flying out to another international event, I suppose for you not having that experience last year, what has it been like, you know, to travel and be in Berlin now?
Honestly, I love Berlin, but personally, it's crazy to say, but I'm allergic to the cold. So literally, it kind of sucks to be here because it's really cold almost every single day. But the nice thing is, every time we go in somewhere, the heaters are on. So it's just so hot everywhere.
It's good.
That's fair enough, man. Listen, I'll leave it to you. If you want to give any shout outs or anything, it's been a pleasure to have you join us.
I mean, obviously, shout out to all the fans. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we get to play on stage soon, and I get to hear the crowd cheering, and it'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Oxy.
very much, man.
And we're going to head over to a short break now. But when we return, plenty more action, so don't go anywhere. Cloud9 up 1-0.
Well, you guys are the newbies in here, so what inspired you?
Like 15 hours a day.
Gotta
Play right.
live for the grind.
มาเขายืมตัดผมเหรอ
Settings, that's the most important one.
I would say just play the game a lot. This is how you can improve the most. Just play a lot.
Grind the game and watch G2 Gozen.
Spam Q a lot, but play a lot of deathmatch. Like, try to win all of your deathmatches, or like just use different guns too, Guardians, Deagle, stuff like that. Just try to be insane, then play competitive, a lot of competitive.
Aim at the head, clean mouse one.
Okay, if you want to rank up, insta-lock Neon.
Insta-lock Neon and play deathmatch.
Trying to take it seriously.
Play consciously. You can learn from ranked, from deathmatch, from everywhere.
Watch Valorant's warm-up routine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And play a lot of ranked to grind.
เซตเอ็นเจเผย ถ้าเลือกโค้ชได้1 คนจะเลือกอเล็กให้มานั่งทุบโต๊ะอยู่ข้างหลัง ไปสัมภาษณ์ที่ไหนวะเนี่ย
พรุ่งนี้ทำงานมีกินเลี้ยงปีใหม่เลิก3ฮะเขากินตั้งแต่พรุ่งนี้เลยเหรอ กินไว้ก่อนใช่ไหม กินดักหน้าไว้ก่อน เฮ้ยซีนายได้แมปแรกเหรอพี่คัมแบ็กคัมแบ็กมันแมปเดียวดิ คือเกมนี้คือ1-0คือจบเลยสวิสสเตท
เฮ้ย เขารอบปะวะ เข้ารอบว่ะ
Come back to
แบกผมขึ้นอิมหน่อยดิ
ได้ วันไหนไม่มีแข่งอะกดได้
ได้เลย
User joined your channel.
ฮัลโหล
หรอ
ทำอะไรวะ นั่งดูแข่งเหรอ ครูภาคนู่นน่ะครู4อ่ะ
พักคู่สี่
แบบ3แล้วนี่ไง แบบ4อ่ะ
อ๋อคู่ต่อไปเนี่ยเหรอ
ไม่ใช่แบบ คู่ต่อจากนี้ อันนี้คู่3ใช่ไหมล่ะ
ภาคไหนเคซีหรอ
ภาคT1ดิT1กับ
อ๋อเดี๋ยวมันจะใส่คู่ที่วันใช่ไหม
คู่ภาคคู่ T1 ตั้งแต่คู่ T1 ไปอะ
เขามีแอปเหมยตู่ด้วยเหรอ ฮะ
ไอ้เหี้ยFnatic
โหลดไปแล้ว
ทำแกว่ะ เมื่อกี้นั่งดูแผนมันดีนะจริงๆอ่ะ เล่นจังหวะเลยโคตรดีเลยแต่จังหวะที่ว่าตั้งรับแม่งโดน
เอ้ยคู่ต่อไป
ไหนมันต้องเปิดแต่ไหนนะ
พี่โจหน้า
ขจักผ่านนะครับขจักอย่างงี้
กูดูนิดเดียวเมื่อกี้ อ๋อช่อง APS หรอ
ใช่ช่อง APS ถ้าเลดบัว
มึงภาคกี่คู่
5
เลยเหรอ
ก็ยิงยาวมันเฟลโบวันนะแล้วแบบหลังๆก็ ASMR ไป
รอบนั้น
นันชาติ
A4 นับเป็นซุปเปอร์ทีมไหมถือว่าได้อยู่นะรวมๆทั้งหลายที่มา
ไวไปว่ะ ต้องให้เวลาอีกหน่อย
ใช่ ได้ไหมกูทำมาคัดจักรโอเคไหมคิดว่าไง เมื่อกี้ดู
เมื่อกี้มาดูตอนจะจบก็
เฮ้ยพี่โจหน้าเขาเปลี่ยนทรงผมเขาไม่เป็นทรงวัยรุ่นเมกันแล้วโจหน้ามันเปลี่ยนทรงผมอะพี่
ใครนะ
Yesterday,
wow.
honestly,
ปกติจะเป็นวัยรุ่นเมกันทรงผมเรียบร้อย
between him and Valen, he was winning a lot of 1 versus 1s. You saw how G2 have been trying to mesh with his hyper
รอบนี้เป็นทรงพี่หมีใจดี
him the opportunities in the round which he wants to take those fights naturally. You see on the replays here one of the 1v1s that he ended up getting and winning. So I think you can only see it as a positive right now, especially with them having some steam behind them coming into the second day.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be rude if we didn't mention Jogamo in this one, right? I mean, being the latest addition in this roster, probably feeling as though he has a lot to prove as well, you know? Like, he's such a talented player, had such a successful year within 2023, so coming into this one, yeah, I mean, all eyes have been on him so far.
Yeah, they certainly have, but it would be rude not to mention the other team which we have. They make plenty of noise. The name means so much in and of itself. Karmine Corp on the other side of the server. Martin, the one mainstay piece which they keep on Duelist, but Aves, Elite, Sugetsu and Sadak rounding out this elite squad.
Yeah, I mean, another roster rebuild, but not with names that we've never heard of before, right? An absolutely star-studded roster, and of course, I'm just excited to see how this team is going to perform and develop under Sadak's leadership, right? Has been named as being one of the best IGLs in the world. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into this one, Hazza, and getting a first taste of what that new Karmine Corp roster looks like.
I think the part that I like the most about this pickup for Sadak is that it makes so much sense from the vein of thought that was birthed of the original Karmine Corp roster that we had last year. If you want an IGL that can work and mold younger pieces in terms of looking at Aves here coming out of left field, I think for a lot of people, but so consistent within within challengers. Guys like Elite as well, who were always really, really good, a highlight of BBL last year, and they'll be frustrated not to hang on to him. But with the track record that Sadak has, with players like QCK, Tuis, Cowanzine, guys that he's brought into his team after having won a world championship already and still found success.
Yeah, I mean, EMEA, we're not going to complain about having those import players, are we? We're absolutely not going to complain about it. But even just to go back to Karmine Corp as an org, obviously last year they had a kind of good start, which they'll be hoping to get going into this next year as well, making that first international event, and then as an org not being able to make any more international events after then. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how they get on in this tournament and how that sets them up for next year.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's thinking it, but you had to spend a little bit to get your ticket to Paris at the end of the year, right? That's what they're hoping for. Karmine Corp, home representation at a Champions event with Champions winners in the team in Sadak, Masters winners in Sugetsu. The quality here speaks for itself. I think it's just a question of having that system built that fits with what Eng wants from his IGL and the amount of time, at least in terms of this best of one, that they've got to actually tie that all together.
Yeah, exactly. And best of ones, we've said it in the pre-show before that it is a real test because one mistake and then you fall into having to play against those teams that have also lost their first map. So yeah, it is a brutal format, but I think it's going to be a really good tester for the team to see how they get on.
Yeah, definitely. Especially those macro heavy maps, I think, because looking at the one best of one with KCX4 that we actually had a look at of this team, I think a lot of the general reads were just so good. It was vintage Sadak. It was exactly what you wanted from him in terms of finding where the gaps were. It was on Sunset. In terms of the maps that we expect to see here, though, I mean, there's just zero knowledge on what Karmine Corp are gonna do. Until now, it's Haven, the perfect place to pull some strings.
Yeah, like you said, nothing really to go off of. So, I mean, even if we were to start thinking about agent select, Hazza, we can sit and theorize, but like you say, there's no data on what this team is really running. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. And of course, being here as a team, being together on LAN, you know, it's all great experience for them too.
Yeah, when you saw when G2 played this yesterday against Foot, they would have gone back and taken a look at that, I'm sure. 13-11 win for the Turkish team there. It was a comeback into the second half, which ultimately is what kept them in it. And from that defender's side, really, you're going to want to see with them starting on defense what improvements have been made.
Yeah, definitely. It almost makes you sit and wonder, were KC actually sat watching that map yesterday? yesterday for them to pick into that one. So yeah, hopefully lessons were learned for G2 Esports, and we're going to see that come out in this matchup.
Yeah, you never know. And I think too, in terms of compositions, obviously when Foot were playing against them, it was the Neon comp. G2 played against a few Neon comps yesterday as well when they faced Permitter on Sunset too. I feel like it's the kind of thing where you live by the sword, die by the sword, but like they're just so good at playing it themselves. They sort of know what it is to expect from their opponent in that regard.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But the thing, again, that's at the back of my mind is Neon meta. It's going to kind of die out with those new patch changes,
yeah,
right?
and I think it's really important that you bring that up because it's a relevant discussion to have when we're talking about Karmine Corp with them playing the Neon comp right now, and also the success that they found in Kickoff, because a lot of those compositions, strats they were running, I'm thinking like the split Cosmic Divide with the Yoru ult, which we saw yesterday from BBL, which didn't work. And stuff like that, right, which worked for that first split, but from that point onwards into the latter stages is when they started to fade away as people understood what it was that they were going to do.
And I think that's why it's really important to have an IGL that's willing to innovate, right? And try out new things and cook things up and learn from your mistakes. And I think that's where KC has the strength of Sadak coming in, right? Because he will be able to come up with new ideas and listen to the rest of the team and kind of, yeah, like I say, innovate.
Yeah, I mean, look, VCT's Renaissance man, as I've called him before. Sadak definitely not someone who's going to shy away from bringing new ideas to the table, but at this point, it is the Neon off-season, basically. So not really too surprising that this is what we end up getting. But for everyone else, I'm seeing so many comfort roles here, to be honest. Elite on Cypher, Sugetsu Smoke, Sadak on Sova, Aves on Breach. I mean, this is just the places that you expect to see these guys.
Yeah, comfort picks. Like you say, it quite literally is comfort picks, and it's tried and tested on Haven as well, so no surprises there, Haza. But we are just about to jump into the game now, and let's get on with the pistol round.
KC starting that attack through middle, spike on the back of Sugetsu. Jonah P here with the stun, thinking about using it, pulls the pistol out instead, and it's in his best interest to fight just inches away as Martin threads himself through the garage. Leaf spotted, classic in hand, flank coming through from Aves late in C. Still the timing yet to be taken. Trent the one that opens the scoring. Oh, and he'll follow it up with a shock dart there as well. Flat in the end as Elite gets one back. It's just so back and forth. Finally, G2 put their foot down. And put it where their mouth is. It's a pistol picked up.
Yeah, you said it yourself, Haza. Lots of back and forth going on there, and both teams looking as though they want to have some sort of mid-presence, which of course is to be expected on that pistol round of Haven. And yeah.
It's the garage take from KC as well. I think you saw what the game plan is, what the idea was. It's just then the details, the micro, how you play off of each other, and stuff that you're expecting to have been built upon since this roster was debuted in the show match. G2 have now had officials to do that themselves. Jorgamo and Trent, two of the standouts for them for that run through the lower of play-ins in the end.
สรุป IC มันไม่สุดเหรอพี่
mentioned Haza is these teams still figuring out their identities, right? The amount of roster changes. We always talk about roster mania in the offseason, and just individuals getting used to how they actually want to play together, build that synergy.
Yeah, I mean, even just from the comms,
คือโดยลิสมันต้องแบบว่า
whether you're playing Neon or something else, this is an agent which is so intensive of that information, and now into the force buy from KC. They've been sitting idle in long for a while, but the impetus finally placed on getting something done here. The onus placed on our attackers. G2 flushing out with a little bit of util, but still no kills as we reach the minute mark.
KC ชุดใหม่ดูดีกว่าชุดเก่าปะแต่เสียหน้าเลดไปอะ
ดีกว่า
Taking all that A space, and
เดี๋ยวต้องดูก่อนว่า
send the drone in through garage. And
Is that just gone straight past Leaf?
ใครมันออกไปบ้างนะ KC หน้าเลดแล้วก็
G2 not falling foul
เก็บไว้
from KC
ชิน
so far.
เก็บไว้แค่มาตินหรือเปล่า
They did a lot on Sunset, those solo defaults, and Haven is a very similar map. Not too much layering in terms of those ideas, though. It's going to be straightforward in the end. 5 versus 3 on the A side.
เก็บมาตินไว้คนเดียวอ่ะ
And as we come into the execute, all the
Ui,
utility
ủa, team
bombs
của
in,
Martin.
Martin is just gonna slide right into
Một-
a stun, and
แม่งอยู่ A
it's
โคตร
just
เยอะ
a
เลย
complete wipeout for G2 Esports picking up that second round.
Totally. Instant stuff from G2. KC, I think, tried to sell pressure elsewhere on the map, but Valen, this not being the first time that he's gone up against a
ทำไมเขาไม่เอาส
Sam
กีม
captain
กลับมาพี่
roster in Americas with Loud. The full year on stage that they've had as a team now as well, coming back into the LAN environment
โหยากเลย
goes a very
Content
long
creator
way.
มันเป็นคอนเทนต์
Having
ครีเอเตอร์ตอน
been
นี้
the Ascension team previous, and just
The
shutting
team.
down the Force as well is going to be a huge momentum breaker.
Going into this one, KC looking to just up the pace completely and put some pressure towards Garage. And if Martin's not careful here, that stinger could catch him off guard.
Martin trying to be quick. Jorgamo witted to the situation. Trent fighting out solo, but Elite just gives him the opportunity to take that duel. Shock out, suspicious.
อยากให้ยิงทะลุมาก
Sugetsu claims
ซุยเกสึมันไหลมาเอาจนได้
It was just the SMG though, so no real upgrades here to be
เด็กหลัก
taken.
หนึ่ง
With that, Martin
Yes,
is spotted, isolated outside of B. Well read by Jonah.
Look at this
มีโจน่า
position
แล้วมีหมูเด้ง
though.
ไหมพี่
This
เอ๋ย
is something that we've seen a lot from them
โจน่าทำไมโจน่า
throughout
ถึง
those
คู่กับหมู
international
เด้ง
play-ins yesterday.
โจน่าเป็นแม่หมูเด้งเหรอพี่
Positions
อ๋อใช่เหรอ
that
ตัวที่กินหญ้าอะ
to get into.
ใส่กี่รอบก็กินอย่าง
He
เงี้ย
loves to walk down C long. He was doing it all of yesterday, like you say. KC need to try and find an out for themselves here. Give
หมูเด้ง
themselves 2 feet to stand on, or at least just something. A rock formation in this post plant, which could very soon crumble. The spike's still yet to
เรื่อ
hit
ง
the
นี้ต้องมี
deck.
คนรับผิดชอบ
It's Valen that drops out
ไปแล้ว
as
พี่โจ
instead,
น่า
but not without him having said his piece. Sugetsu solo through a link, looking for Valen. Already hit, finally
เฮ้ย
taken
เมื่อกี้มัน
down.
น่าจะเห็นปะ
Hits him through the mid-drift.
ก็อยู่ขวาตัว
And
นั้น
Jorgamo will finish. It was not the cleanest from G2, but they won't care. It's another on the board.
Exactly, Hazza. It was just a
นึกว่ามัน
bonus
เห็น
round
นั่
for
นน่ะ
them, so they're not too phased.
เลยเลือกไปปิดมุมขวาอันที่ไหนได้แม่งไม่เห็น เดินเหมือนรู้เลยนี่
Again, just back and forth on that kill feed.
And I think in this situation as well, especially attack side Haven, you're kind of expecting KC to play as a bit more of a unit, whereas G2 are fully punishing you for that kind of setup.
หมูด้วย
Early reveal, lots of util dumped towards A lobby. They've got the space for themselves now. And KC will fully respect that.
Again, this guard control that we've seen from the past couple of rounds from KC. Drone manages to spot out some sort of utility towards that C site, and
Well, the trap was placed, but not quite for the cross. Leaf cannot capitalize. Jorgamo re-clearing out through mid. Where G2 struggled against Foot was where they weren't able to effectively manage garage control, and now aggression wagered against them. KC pulling the levers of attack. Martin at the charge, right in the forefront. Jorgamo gets one back on the ult, but still, Elite keeps KC's nose in front.
คมอยู่อีลิทคม
and no follow-up there.
ถือว่ากลางๆไปทาง
Trade
ดี
off of that death
ตัวนี้
แล้วอีลิกอะ
It's just a case of whether or not they
Elite.
recognize this position from
Yeah,
Martin, and it's
Martin.
อีลิกตัวไหนอีลิก
it's going to
Game.
take him down.
A ticking time bomb. Playing on borrowed time in many senses. Now Elite has to try and bail them out. He
อดีต
will do his best, and his best turns out to be enough. Sugetsu and
ดูว่า
Sadak
จะไม่ได้วินแต่ละตา
teaming
ดิ
together
แม่ง
to
เสียโคตร
collect
เย
the
อะเลย
first for the French organization.
No surprises there for it to be Sadak to close out that round.
ตุรกีเหรออีลิท
ตุรกี
And this idea from G2 was
ตุร
nice
กีนี่ไม่ได้
to
ค
kind
ม
of
ๆนะ
funnel back in
ผลิต
from CT
ผลิต
as
นัก
a pack,
นัก
but
ฆ่า
just
ช่วงนี้
struggling to kind of isolate those fights.
เอมเมอร์มาจากตุรกี
Yeah, I
เต็ม
think
ไปหมด
it's
เลย
interesting as well when we say KC French org,
บ้าน
right,
มัน
but
คอม
the
มูนิ
only
ตี้มัน
French
โตไง
connection is
มัน
Zeiss from Coach Slot.
ตัวเลือก
With his
เยอะ
own Egyptian connection now onto Aves as well. Someone who I'm excited to seeing more from here and getting closer to that rolling thunder, but it's the neural theft and cosmic divide which KC currently possess, the only ults in the server to this next gun buy.
this G2 Esports side, just always happy to sit those trios towards A like we seen from them yesterday.
Take flight.
มีมูมูขอบคุณสำหรับสมาชิกนะครับ
Happy to put this pressure towards Garage, and they're going to get punished for it.
Brilliant from Elite
Yeah,
though,
but
to flip that on its head. One from Valen in the corner. Didn't get checked after the drone. With the hat off his head. Now they should know. 2 towards backside, 1 playing from Graffiti. That's Trent. He goes down. All onto Jorgamo. He's been so good before, and he will continue to do so. Elite, the last one left. He started the round well. But now he's got to tie it all back up together.
มาล่าดีกว่า
No loose ends left with 25 seconds on the clock. Jonah from the same corner, which lost the round for G2 yesterday, will be their successor this time.
Really nice ideas coming out from KC that round though, right? It was just unfortunate that those fights onto the A site got so scrappy there. You've seen the utility come in, but I think that's where we're seeing the prowess of Jorgamo already on 9 kills and 1 death. I mean, if there's anyone to do it, it's going to be the new duelist on G2 Esports.
This is really nice from Elite as well. Saw a lot of that from him on BBL last year. Trialed with quite a few teams, to be fair. I mean, it was a while before he ended up landing where he has now on KC. Lucky to have him, and without Martin this time, and it's the aforementioned man which is next to get shown the door. A ragtag set of weapons which just can't crack the C site open. Fill their boots with another orb. Still getting closer to having all 3 there. I should do by the time this one is over. But no circumstance, no situation which will allow that to happen.
Neural theft invested.
Nice from Leaf. Situational, just making sure that G2 aren't papering over the cracks.
ยาวกี่โม
That if there was a gap, it can be sealed between Jorgamo and Trent.
อัน
Nothing
นี้
has
มี
gone
บรรทัด
past
ใหม่ก็
them
ดู
so far.
เท่ป่ะ
Yeah.
KD still.
Really
Lot
nice
to
from
catch
Leaf
up.
as well to open up that round, but like you say, the dynamic duo of Trent and Jorgamo being able to close it out. But KC can't be too annoyed at that one, you know, they were on an equal round.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you took the early C control, you had the orb, the
Not
players go down.
not
Now we're in a
KC.
situation where 4 ults versus just the one on G2. Looking to take some mid control for the first
May not lord
time so
KC.
far on this defender's side. It's Jorgamo yet again. Here he goes. Drone in his face. Tag as well. Chance to get Warback, but the movement's too swift. You ain't catching him anytime soon.
KC too scared to reaggress mid
สะบัด
now.
กำแพง
You
ไป
can
ที
see
ไป
they're really
รี
taking
บ
their time, figuring out what sort of utility they're going to commit to re-clearing this, and really nice initiative from G2 Esports this round to...
อุ้ยจ้าเอ๋ตัวเอง
It's going to be Martin that answers back.
Drop down to 10 HP once those heavy shields had softened the blow. Seen a lot of teams running the outlaws so far today.
ทำไมมันถึงผมกำลังจะถามเลยทำไมมันถึงไปสโมกตรงนั้นวะพี่
Tap towards B. It's a longer rotation now towards the C side of the map, so Valen is forced to stand tall once again.
อาจจะเมาๆไปนิดนึงเดี๋ยวได้ใช้ไว้สโมก
Paranoia to delay it a little longer. Now a smoke.
มันอ่านขาดจัดเลยพี่
Control under the G2 banner. Trent catches Sadak in the crossfires. Finally, the IGL will drop in the backside, but the numbers have arrived. They're starting to get cut down to size. Karmine Corp with the kills that they needed, and it's Aves that mops up.
เมื่อกี้ทำไมมันถึงยืนมองฟาสเลนแล้วมันก็ถอยกลับมาทั้งที่เห็นตัวผ่านขวาไป
Back into this one, and I was just about to say never say never.
เกิดอะไรขึ้นมากมายแล้วเนี่ย
มีคำถามมากมายเกิดขึ้นครับในวงราวนี้
And I mean,
มาร์ตินตันเพื่อนไอ้นั่นไปสโมกซีนั่นถือว่าอ่านขาดจริง
Brilliant work, nevertheless, I have to say.
เนี่ยไอ้หน้าบีนี่ก็ยิงไม่โดน
Aves, this is a guy who, you know, a lot of people won't know. So just set the stage for this player. He's placed 3rd place in MENA with NASA last year, has been at that level before with Rad all the way back since 2021. This guy has been consistently putting up numbers within challengers at only 20 years of age, and I think is
ตามเอา
an
เลยบอก
outside
ส
choice.
ตาร์ทกูทำไม
อุ้ยขอบคุณ 20 บาทนะครับ คุณซิลินหวาน ผมว่าจะไปฝึกเล่นแฟนทอมเดี๋ยวแล้วดีกว่าสแปมสโมกเดือดนี่
ว่าจะกลับมาแฟนทอมมันเนี่ยดูจากเมตาละ
time in their history that a Middle Eastern team had made it that far in the competition. Of all the promotional events that we had, they'd never made it any further than groups. So I think it's just really nice to see that continuation, that representation, with it being EMEA and not just EU.
Yeah, no, I have to completely agree with that one, Hazza. But nonetheless, KC timeout. Let's see what they've knocked their heads together to come into this next round with.
Still a couple of those ults, like you said. Happy to spend in the previous. Open purse. G2 digging deep and bringing out some pieces of their own. Jorgamo has the op. His contact will take first here. Playing off the corner is Jonah and the drone now to just confirm that Long is clear after that early KC presence.
KC looking to grip towards C here, and Leaf has been so lethal.
Oh, I love this setup. The cam is just over the shoulder. The paranoia is going to drop in perfect. Cages go up. That blocks the right side. He's now been spotted though. It's just electricity everywhere you look. A thunderstorm on the C site. KC, paint it blue.
Spike planted.
It really is a question of how you get back into that one. I mean, it's such
G2
an
หมดปี
accelerated
หน้า
start.
แต่มันก็มีโอกาสกลับขึ้นมาเลยลองไปคัดกับทีมที่ขึ้นมา
It's a very direct hit as well on a site which we've already seen KC derive some value from. I like the
G2 น่าจะจองสล็อตหนึ่งยาว
When you're playing up against the Neon, this is a duelist which is unbelievably good at just baiting utility, quickly getting in there and then getting right back out. You can immediately reset. You've not wasted any utility. Just fuel on the high gear. There we go. Spike goes off. I'm loving the sound effect.
Yeah, the arena sounds great right now.
Cannot wait to open our doors tomorrow and let the fans in as well. So make sure to pick up your tickets if you're local to Berlin, and maybe if you're not coming from a little further afield. This is an international competition, and with this being an international opponent, it's not a repeat matchup that we've ever seen before. Of all
It's exciting though, right? International competition. Teams getting to play up against other teams that they maybe wouldn't get to play with any other time. And like we keep saying, Hazza, a taster as to what VCT might look like next year, as to what other international events might look like next year.
You know, I hope so, and I also hope not. And you know what I'm talking about. It's the blue hair, man. It's the blue hair. Timeout G2, and right off the back of KC calling their own as well, because you've got to remember the scoreline went from 5-1 to 5-2. That had already been called. It was something which we see Karmine Core do quite a bit as well. Just say, okay, things aren't necessarily going bad for us, but we're just going to call a timeout because we need to address something at this point in time. Eng, one of the greatest minds that we have in Valorant. And just another one of those major winners, really, that you've got to be looking at, I think. That's the experience that needs to be threaded into the rest, the fabric of this roster with it. You know, lacking experience in other areas.
แน่คูณ38 เดือนครับ
Going into this one, more aggression on that A main as we have seen so far in KC's
หมด
attack.
ละยังไม่ได้เข้าไซต์สไลด์ไปหมดละ
There's no op behind this time. Jorgamo is sitting over mid, so it's on G2 really to choose when they want to go in. Yeah, we're all good, guys. Welcome back to LAN. But it's the same timing on the drone that we saw as well. coming through. I think it is actually. Oh no, we're back. We're back. Held our breath for a moment. Here's Elite once again. Another double from the self-sufficient Cypher. Trent's got to come up with so much here if he wants to hold on to the A site, but he'll go down in vain. Another name tossed to the flames as Martin can confirm KC will move within 1 round of their America's opponent.
จีทูก็เสียวินแบบงง
Yeah, I thought we always had one there, hasn't
เจอพี่ลิน
Look, what was it? The Billy Tech pauses yesterday.
It's been
Feel
Cairo
bad for throwing
today.
you under the bus.
I think it's a you thing.
โอ้ยอย่างงี้
Maybe.
ฟุตได้คนใหม่มาที่โหดๆแล้วยังมีเยตุเจอยู่นี่ไม่เดือดจัดเลยทีม
So scary. Nice. He's like a teddy bear, really.
Leaf.
Leaf gets one on their way back through A, but this is the precious cargo that they wish to keep. Jorgamo's operator.
ผมอยากดูฟุตว่ะชอบตอนมันวอลขายซีวันกับฟุตพี่ว่าใคร
Getting used to that, man. I absolutely love it. It's great.
ใช่หรอ T1 เลยนะพี่
KC with number 4 and G2 with a purchase.
T1 ยังไม่ลงล็อก
hold on to this sniper for quite a while
เครื่อง
now.
แรงจัดตอน
But
นี้
in terms of
ที
what
มลง
went
ตัวอยู่
well
แล้วปรับ
for
เปลี่ยน
KC
แค่
in
รูลิ
that round, Elite has been a serious highlight so far. But he is very much playing by himself.
Yes.
ทีม
And
เทค
that is something that we can expect
โอเวอร์ไทม์มาในคู่นี้
a Sentinel player, of course. Playing by yourself, looking to see what you can open up on the attack.
คู่กีจีเอเจนจีนะ
There to either log, provide information
เอา
to
เฟน
the
ติก
rest
แพ้
of the team.
หมายถึงถ้าคู่เฟนติกแพ้เบเกอร์เลยคนละเกม
Martin looking through B once again, flicking over the pages. What can he find? The point man to this presence. It is another split.
อุ้ยบ้าจัด
Whips around C-Link and has G2
ช็อต
on
พรี
a
เมียมจัด
leash. Spike's gonna go down.
ได้ไงอะพี่
Coming back into the retake
ถึง
with
ก็
the
ร้องเฮ้ย
bomb
เลย
with no kills yet picked up is a very real difficulty for them now. The flash goes behind the head of Martin. Still knocking on the door, but he finally gets delivered bad news. Shorty still posted up as that split at the start has a continuation in post. Sadak with the next, twice the number KC. Jorgamo is adding to his death toll. But when all is said and done, it falls upon Trent now to give them anything else in this round to leave them with half a chance. The spike is simply tapped. As time ticks away, he'll get his first, but Sugetsu follows up nicely, and with that, we are level.
เหมือนจะว้าวุ่นอยู่นะจีทู
เมื่อกี้มัน180เลยป่ะไอ้มาทีน180องศา360เลยวะเนี่ย
damage that that agent can do, right? And this was absolutely ridiculous.
The whip around. You can tell he's playing on low sense as well in that situation where it's like, how much mouse pad do I actually have here? Okay. Nice try, Trent.
นี่ถ้าเป็นแพทใหม่นี่ตายนัดเดียวนั่นแหละเมื่อกี้เนี่ยไอ้นั่นน่ะ
Enough
ไซเฟอ
able
ร์
to set up those crossfires.
ระยะนั้น
Once the spike went down in the entry, I mean, just the fact that Martin can do that by himself.
อ๋อเพิร์ดช็อตหัวนั่นเดียวมันเพิ่มระยะไกลขึ้นใช่ไหม
ใช่20 เมตร
And Aves through the wall.
แล้วถ้าดาเมจจากไกลๆมันจะไม่มี124แล้วมันจะแบบ145ไปเลยเท่าไหร่นะ140ไม่เกาะเล็กไม่รอดละเดี๋ยว
KC though looking to try that C site again
โอ้
because
ได้
they
ยิน
know
เล
it
ย
has worked out
ได้ยิน
for
แบ
them
บแน่นๆเลยปักมาเนี่ย
in the past few rounds and
They'll also have heard that next trap placed.
สครีมตอนนี้อยู่บ้านครับผมมันอยู่บ้าน
สกิล
Should say it was
ไม่ได้อยู่ทีมไหน
recalled and replaced. The next is Garage and Valen's playing in front of it. It's an interesting position with the paranoia outfit.
แรกๆมันเก่งอยู่นะ
Supported by Leaf again. G2 have looked pretty
มันก็
comfortable
ยังเก่งนะถ้าจับอยู่
keeping
ถูก
this
ที่ถูก
one
จุดอะ
when you know it's not Martin through B instead when they're just facing double doors.
Trent now
คอมแบทครับยังเรื่องจริงไหม
Trent will catch him out in
30 seconds left.
With only 30 seconds left on the clock, Kaza. I mean, KC, they really need to up the ante on this round, and it's going to be a bloodbath in Garage so far.
Martin opens up yet again. Into the trap goes Sadak, but As he falls, the rest hold up their end of the bargain. 13 seconds, time running low. KC needing to get the spike down in jaw. You already know, getting ready to slide back in when the time is right. Looking for his window. Ult comes through. Aves guards it. Oh my lord, Trent! The shock and the tap through the wall. A 1 versus 1 with Sugetsu on the other side.
ก็ซุยเกสึไง
Needing to keep
ตัวที่โดนคัดบ่อยด้วย
creeps closer. Trent now looking for a chance. The
นั่นไง
but the shot from the sheriff is just nuts. G2 in a round they had no business winning, drawing over the line.
Disgusting again from Trent to be able to get that shock dart kill, get the wall bang. Going from a 1v3 to winning the round is just exactly what we would expect from a lot of these G2 esports players, right? Is being able to stand up in the moment that they need to.
Yeah.
And of course, they're warmed up. They had to play through all of yesterday.
You know what they say, Billy? Big games call for big name players. And that's what G2 have done so far. It's good to see. I think even as well with how time sensitive the situation was, the spike goes down, it's just going to help you out even more. Casey can't afford to be that hesitant in rounds future.
Really slow contact as well from KC yet again.
Jorgamo only just getting a look into a lobby. That's when Trent invests his ult and manages to
เสีย
find
ชาติเกิดนีออนมาก
Brilliant work from
นี
Trent.
ออนวิ่งโดนอันติสว่า
An opening
ตาย
pick. And in terms of how G2 have fought a lobby over the last few maps that we've seen from them on Haven, they don't
ไม่มี
always
อะไรเลยเมื่อกี้ไม่ได้สแกนแท็ก
insert a
เลย
player
แท็ก
up
มาดูไม่ทัน
close. Usually they are taking those deeper
ไม่มีอะ
lines. You saw Jorgamo get
งงเลย
punished
ทีนี้
quite a bit
ว้าวุ่
on
น
the
เลย
attack side when they were trying to duel it. So
โอ้โห
they have their reasons and it's worked out. Now KC corralled into the Cypher setup.
Taken out.
And we're getting to a similar time on the board again, Haza, that we've seen on that previous round, but it is going to be the Rolling Thunder committed both ways, which is going to stop KC from being able to get the this site.
Everybody's stunned, but Leaf has managed to break away from that now. Neural Theft coming in, Aves on the flash, but Leaf is already past this. Cornering Logs, getting ready for the fight, but he takes it to Sugetsu and win out. 10 seconds left, and that spike needing to hit the deck once more already. Jorgamo's right in the midst of things, and with the shorty out of his hands, KC out without a chance. Advantage on that first half is G2's.
Jorgamo is such a delight to watch on this Neon, like that guy's movement. It's just crazy. It's so nice to watch, and I think
คุ้มจัดเลยได้เจ้า
things to learn from this half
ใช่เลย
KC so far. I would say like
ให้
in their
ไอ
attack,
ซี่มาทำ
they
อย่างนี้
felt
คงไม่ใช่
so
อ่ะ
paced, right? Which is surprising coming
ดู
from
ดิ
the fact that
ไม่โดนสั
your
กเม็ดอะคิวขนาดไหน
IGL used to play for Loud, right? Such an aggressive team.
กระโดดหลบอ่ะเหมือนในหนังเลยเมื่อกี้แบบขาโค้งหมุนตัว
ผมเริ่มคิดไม่ออกแล้วว่าสรุปมูฟเมนต์หรือมันลบกันได้ไอ้คนยิง สกอร์ดูเหมือนแย่นะ KC แต่ก็ยังดีอยู่ 7-5 พี่จอ
are going to thrive in this kind of
เก่า
environment.
เล่นกัน2 คนเลยดิ
That was the big talking point, right? The ante, the preparation. G2 didn't have the best attack side yesterday, but that was a chance for them to go back to the drawing board and bring improvements here.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like we said yesterday, there are always lessons to learn. And I imagine a lot of teams will be using this tournament to learn those lessons.
Class is in session. School of Jorgamo with the Neon. Nice little setup from KC, but they can't bite onto it. And Martin can't get his gun out. They had the contact to the cam, the stun was there, it was well placed, but that's why Neon's crazy. You just, oh, what is this? I have a stun out of my hands. And then all of a sudden you've Uno reverse carded the exact issue that was pitted against you moments prior. Jorgamo still going, but he is in support this time. Bleach flashes traded. Still, no one really wants to show their face. KC, the roles have reversed. They're on the other side of the smoke and the spike can go down.
I mean, the map has completely flipped at this point, Hazza.
In the corner, like you say, the aftershock has gone, and with that, G2 cut back down to size. It's even in the man count now.
And because of all that presence that was shown on the flank, G2 are well aware of this. Of course, they've gone for a plant towards that CT, take up that space where they can, and it forces KC to figure out what they're going to do coming back into this one.
And it's absolutely nothing. 8th round for G2. They extend their advantage into the second half. Even from post there, Trent with both shocks now leading the line 19-7. Jorgamo right behind him. The next 3 players are negative, Billy. Like, G2 have been very top heavy, but the system that they've set up has facilitated this kind of play, and KC at times looking a little too readable for my liking.
I mean, they might have a negative KD, but they've been doing their jobs.
Exactly, the system.
They've been doing their jobs, yeah, exactly. Jonah has been spot on with these stuns. Leaf's defensive sight on C, usually pretty unbreakable.
As KC will be forced to fend that off with pistols here. Classics all across the board. There are stats to put behind that as well. You look at the top 8 players in America's Stage 2 for assists per round. 3 of those 8, almost half, are G2
พยายามโดน
players.
utility
And
เพราะ
all
ว่า
3 of them
แม่ง
from
จะให้ไป A
the core that's been there since the
เอ
start.
อยู่กัน
I'm
เยอะ
talking Valen, Trent,
ทำเหมือนอยู่เยอะนะไอ้ลู
That
บีน
is the foundation that you've got, and also just why it's so scary that Jorgamo joins this lineup when they've got the Sentinel already figured out with Leaf having come in at the start of the year. I'm seeing a lot of good pieces in a lot of the right places, you know?
Yeah, you sound pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, I am. I am. I don't know, if you could build a super team out of all of the players that we've got in home ground right now, how many G2 players make your
30
lineup?
seconds left.
That's a good question. But I feel like that's a question that can be answered during a tech pause, which I'm sure we'll get at some point.
Yeah, or perhaps during this part of the round as G2 have control literally everywhere, walking into the stack on A. That's the one exception, of course.
10 seconds
Goes
left.
down with 10 seconds to spare. So yeah, who would you pick as duelist?
I mean, you can't doubt the pedigree of talent, even just in this server right now, right?
ตายบอม
So many star-studded players that we've been talking so highly of throughout this match.
Is this the Billy dances around the question while I look for an
I always do that.
I think Jorgamo's got to be on there, right?
Who did I want
in terms
as my
of
duelist?
this event, I would take him, I would take Trent, and quite honestly, that was disgusting from
อะไร
me.
วะเนี่ย
He's not getting on the raster yet, but G2 with 9 now, certainly proving just how capable every single one of those players is.
มาละ
Yeah, you're
ไม่ได้นะเห็นได้
he's on the raster.
ลงมาแป๊บเดียว 95 หรอ
Coming into this
Right.
one, KC, Billy, from what you've seen so far from these players, what do you want to see more from for this defense to work out? Where are G2's weak points? Think about
อันนี้ไม่ได้เรียกวายสวิงอันนี้รันแอนกันแล้วเมื่อกี้เพราะมันยิงไปด้วยเลย
I've just gone non-verbal.
That's fine.
I just
That's
gave them
fine.
the dip.
All good. All good.
No, I think like I said on Casey's attack, it feels so slow-paced from what we would usually see, and on their defense so far, I'm waiting for them to get proactive. And I mean, this round they have decided to do that on the lobby, which is great to see. But
นี่
I mean,
จีทูมัน
it's
เชิง
going
หนาสุด
against a bonus buy of G2.
Yeah, like the retakes from Foot yesterday were crazy, but it doesn't necessarily feel like we've seen KC in a position too often where they can flood a site. This time they've already got numbers in the back door, and Elite is one of those. Standing his ground, Sadak by his side, dropped down to 2 HP, but facilitating further success. A triple means that G2, now not only do they have the numbers, that tap of the spike is inducing a fight which they are so well favored to win. That will make for 10.
That double up from G2 on logs is just so nice as well. You can see that they're a well-oiled machine. You can see that they've already found the kind of beat the drum that they want to play throughout this tournament. And of course, I have to go back to the fact that this is first outing at this tournament.
In that round, it looked better with some of the ideas we were talking about from KC. At the very least, having bodies on site, being a little less hesitant to flood back through. But then, you know, I guess the Jorg will not be televised. He just finds 3 kills out of seemingly nothing. I don't know if the body's dropped in front or behind the smoke, but it doesn't matter much. The result is still the same. KC now walking down mid. Looks like they're going to be playing another retake though.
And again, it's this proactivity that we mentioned before, Haza.
Hey,
like you say, retake it looks as though it will have to be that, and with only 5 sheriffs, I mean, it's going to be a difficult one for them to fight back into.
Yeah, it's a weird one too as well, when you see those cypher traps put on site to, you know, skill trips. Oh, I forgot, Sugetsu is one of the best sheriff players in the world, and Sadak is right there by him. It's a 2 versus 2. The issue being the upgrades are a little too far out of reach. With that TP, Valen has given credit to KC. They can bolster their arsenal just a little bit here, but Valen, even on level ground, will have all of the answers seemingly. No util really left here for G2. Valen TPs to the corner with his teammate. The double up was there, but Trent doesn't need it. 11 now, only 2 away, and the KC rebuild not getting off to the kind of start that they would have hoped.
Yeah, all eyes on KC, and I mean, they did well to get back into that round though, Haza. Those 3 sheriff shots.
I
almost looked as though it was going to happen, but Valen and Trent not even allowing Aves to get a half on the spike there. They're not making this comfortable for them whatsoever.
It's the kind of thing you can't forget about, right? Like, firstly, it's really weird to see Sugetsu not in a Na'Vi or like FPX jersey away from that core after all the time they spent together. That was always a team that were good on sheriffs. Now what can they do with rifles? Martin already getting to work. Jorgamo's behind you. That's another pickup. G2. Oh my lord, Jorgamo, they're just running riot right now. On their own home ground in many senses. Berlin, the birthplace. KC coming to town with a new team, but meeting a similar fate. 3 versus 1, Elite doesn't even want to try his luck in the retake, and had he given it a go, there'd be little time left to try and stomach that one.
ดีจัดเลยแหละไม่ได้ดีธรรมดาด้วย
ดีตั้งแต่ปีที่แล้วปีนี้ที่ผ่านมาเนี่ยแต่มันอย่างที่บอกดูเวลมันยังไม่สุด
literally clip farming at the moment.
I know that people joke like, oh, he's got the dog in him, right? Like, who let the dog out? But genuinely, sometimes it's like you take your eye off him and he's gone running down the street. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't not equate him. You can't not calculate him in your equation of what it. Okay, how are we going to play against G2? Oh, Jorgamo, he's 25 and 5 for goodness sake. And Trent, like 2 players on, as Mitch calls it, double digit kills and single digit deaths.
I mean, realistically, Haza, if you were KC right now,
user disconnected from the channel.
To stop Jorgamo. He's just everywhere.
I don't know.
He's just everywhere.
I mean, what? Someone spilled water on the desk in the previous. Cairo joked about water guns. I know that there isn't like a roof on the platform, so maybe just over the top. See what you can get done. Something's got to give. G2 are making this look far too easy. Another kill for Valen. Another one bites the dust. KC crumbling here on Haven. From yesterday to today, you can see they're just feeling too comfortable in the LAN environment. Finally, KC stumble back to life. Those positions will be noted. Martin in through the back line. That's nice stun onto the position of Jorgamo. He could be caught, but still, you need to lock in that kill. It is not yet confirmed. Martin, another hits a quad in the end, and KC keep going.
ให้ฟุตครับ
If there was any round to do it.
Well, yeah, it'd be the one before you lose. I think there wouldn't be another round if we didn't.
ว่ะสองคนนี้มันเอาเรื่อง
But for what it's worth, KC, the names are here for a reason. The individuals are here for a reason. You look at Martin, you look at Elite. They have been showing the kind of performance that you want to see from them with when you have VCT veterans, VCT major event winners propping up the scoreboards.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think it would be your biggest concern if those three at the top were the ones underperforming.
Yeah, I would agree. I think this is obviously not the show that KC would have hoped to have shown in their debut match of home ground. But I think it's not over for them, right?
No, of course. Right? It's a Swiss system.
You've got a
Maybe
Swiss system.
play a few more games.
Yeah.
I think something to note would be the fact that tomorrow you would then have to play an extra game if you wanted to qualify. But now with a timeout, an extra 60 seconds, Billy, what's going through your head if you're Sadak right now?
Why am I 5 and 15?
Nah, nah, that is terrible.
That is terrible.
That is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I mean...
Other than that,
you're wanting to rally the troops, right? As Cairo would say, you're wanting to rally the troops. Listen, this one might be gone. It might be gone. But let's just get our heads together and get ready for the next one, is what I'd be saying.
Okay.
Not good mentality to have.
I think the issue is it's such a big gap between those games. You play your first and it could be another couple hours before you then see the next side of that system.
Yeah, it is a good point to make, and
ยิงง่ายขนาดนั้นเลยวะช็อกดาด
Building up those win conditions. The end game for them drawing closer. Jonah P with the ult point. Rolling Thunder just one away.
This Judge in Garage could be lethal if it gets any sort of contact, and Sadek's just going to make sure that there are players indeed waiting outside mid, and Hazza, that's the spike that sat outside Garage. If this goes any further, I worry for what this round could turn into for G2.
Yeah, but KC are walking straight into the fight. Leave Jonah, they come right back at it. Just as soon as it looked like the advantage was there was no way to disengage from the situation. Sadak still waiting. Judd is in hand. Leaf loosens his grip to the gun, and with it, the doesn't come out. It falls upon deaf ears. It's another 1v1 between the Neons, of which Jorgamo had won the most yesterday. Can he continue to add to his tally here?
วางหลอกเลย
Luckily enough, with it being a Neon, it will be a fast rotate once Martin gets the idea that that spike has gone down. But, I mean, Jorgamo, he's got all this time to set up as well.
It's how much further do you go, right? Both of these players still have their slide, still have their stun. Scary stuff. Martin just being diligent to clear all of this, drops into the site, and now Jorgamo knows. Waiting for that relay bolt. Plant is just off to the corner, still being defused up until half. With bated breath, Jorgamo continues to hold his nerve across the screen. Martin goes.
มันทำเหมือนจะมองไปลองนะ
Right back down for yet another repeat retake performance.
And Martin's really been coming up in these past few rounds, which is unfortunate because it is starting to slip away from KC. I mean, of course it is. It's match point at this point, but I mean, this round in particular, Sadak was so unlucky to not get any kills in that Judge. G2 players ran right into Garage, and it just wasn't enough, unfortunately.
Yeah. This is really nice from Martin too as well, to get the half and then expect beyond that for the peak to come in, use that as his own timing to be the one with peak as advantage against Jorgamo, right? Not allow him to slide out of the ether. 5 rounds now between the teams. You don't get the same kind of advantages as if you were on the attack side, momentum-wise, at least in terms of that economy. So every round just as difficult as the last for KC, and not exactly going to get any luck there. So get to beyond the next smoke. doesn't go down, but he's all that stands between the C site and G2. Back out into mid, trying out the double. Martin and Aves relieved of their duties. And now twice as many players for G2. You don't expect them to make a mistake from this situation, but it has happened before. Doesn't mean it will again. Sadak 1 versus 3 with a long rotate to walk back through.
GG นี่ GG ของจริง
IGL of the team.
GG ของจริง
Hoping to put the rest of them on his back and continue them in this best of one, but I mean, he has the reveal in 2 shocks.
That's the Hunter's Fury and 2 shocks for Trent on the other side as well, though this one was rigged from the start. As good as Sadak has been, the Argentinian now arriving on German soil is going to have his work cut out for him here. It is G2 all the way to the bank. In the end, they're going to be picking this one up. The new blue wall falls in Berlin.
คัดได้มันเป็นโคตรอภิมหาตำนานมันเป็นไปไม่ได้เลยพี่ แค่คนหนึ่งไม่พีก็คือจบแล้ว
จะมา
เหมือนกันไปหาของกินดีกว่าไม่มีปฏิหารเลยเมื่อกี้ก็คือแบบไม่มีภาพเลยสถิติจอกิโมดบ้าจัดเลยดูเอลจะตายน้อยสุดนี่ครับคู่สุดท้ายแล้วต่อไปทีวันเพื่อปีนี้เกมไหนได้เกมวันเดียไม่รู้ว่ะไม่ได้ตามเลยวูคองมั้งโลบอก
shaky for you?
Yeah, shaky for me, I think so.
Okay, in terms of, you know, getting prepared for these games then and what that's looked like for you, being here in Berlin, I imagine you would have been here for a while now. Yeah. How's that routine sort of set itself up for you? If you say that you're still shaky, how can that improve?
I mean, I usually change all my settings right before a tournament happens, so we only had 4 or 5 days for boot camp for this tournament specifically, so changed all my res, changed all my sense, and then that's how I get into my, you know, my action, my mode. to perform like how I have been. So and then yesterday's tournament we lost one game against Put, and that definitely refreshed all of us as a team to get back together and be like, hey, we gotta focus and figure out what our goal is here. And I think that's been the best part about the tournament so far, just like having that play in to go into these matches and then have to play one more to get on the stage. And I'm excited for that.
I was going to ask you about that game against Foot. Was there any lessons sort of learned? Have you had time to go back and watch the VOD and see what that looked like from your side?
Yeah, I went back and I kind of went too deep a couple times. So, I mean, I have some good timings for my plays, but I got to, still figure out the team stuff. We're a brand new team with me included. They've been together for a long time, of course, but we still got to learn everything together. And that's the best part about this game for sure.
Yeah. What's it like been meshing with Valen as well? Obviously, as someone that you've known for a while, but coming in with your hyper-aggressive style, as you've said, how that factors into the play style that he wants to run. How has it been since the start?
He's definitely letting me do all my gaps that I find, and he's just going to figure out how to like call behind me, and he's been doing incredible. Like his IGLing, I can't beat it. Like he's one of my favorite IGLs so far, so I'm excited for this.
Nice. And I wanted to ask you as well about Spotlight Series, because obviously you just finished up the EMEA Spotlight Series and you got to play alongside the G2 Gozen girls. Did you learn anything from them? What was that like playing in amongst a co-ed tournament?
I learned how to play a different type of play style. Like Mimi has a different way of like calling stuff, and she has a lot of great utility for me. Vanya, like I've seen her anchor, and she's like one of the most like amazing anchors I've seen on Omen. So just having all those factors and like having like to see like these girls with nice aim, I'm like, holy crap, like anybody can do it. Like I could do it too. All of us are gonna play together. That's probably like what I've been learning from them.
แปลว่าที่ VF
Obviously,
ผม GC คือเรื่องจริงหมดเลยฮะ
I say the word and your face lights up. You love it though. You absolutely love it.
Yeah.
My question is, with the nerfs in mind, at least the ones that have been suggested, do you feel like this is something that you can see yourself bringing into later competitions perhaps, or is it just like, is it a playstyle that you really love that much, or are there other agents where you're thinking, yeah, you know what, like when the time is right, we move away from this?
I mean, I think Neon's definitely still good on like, certain maps. I'm not gonna spoil my tech, but
all good, man, all good.
But I mean, there's still Raze, there's still Jet. Like, there's still a lot of characters that people haven't seen me play yet. There might be a Yoro coming in eventually. So, but I think Neon's like a little bit nerfed, and the dash stuns like 50% cut off. It's not too bad. You just gotta figure out how to play around it. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah. I guess in terms of those agents as well, and what that decision making is that more on Valen or you individually and what you want to do comp wise?
I think it's a team. It's a whole team thing for sure. Like, I don't think it'll only be me if I see the gaps and I find like the actual nice opportunities I can get with the different agents. So that's kind of what I bring into the table. I mean, I can play anything. You guys, I mean, I always say it. I played Gecko first time with them, and we did well with it. So I think it's whatever I can figure out.
Oh man, well, good to hear from you. Any final thoughts before we toss it on over? And actually, something else I got to ask as well. Teams that you're playing up against, maybe.
Yeah.
What are you thinking now? You're the third team to go 1-0. You got Cloud9, Heretics there as well. Anyone that you really want to play?
I've never played against Heretics before, so I'm excited for that. Well, yeah, with this Heretics lineup, so I'm excited for that. I was excited for Fnatic, but I wish, my boy Leo, but it's okay, But I'm excited for Heretics for sure. That's one of my people.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Joel, for joining us on the desk. As always, pleasure to have you here. We are going to keep this one rolling. There's plenty more action, of course, for us with Swiss. It's Foot versus T1 up next, Billy.
Yeah, I know. Foot versus T1. Exciting, right? We get to see this new T1 roster. Of course, we got to see a lot of what Foot had to offer yesterday. So, yeah, another exciting matchup for us.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a matchup that we'd actually seen before. Of course, T1 has completely changed since then, right? The lineup still, you got Carpe hanging around in the back rooms and stuff, man. You had 10-10 there as well when they had the Pacific play-ins. Like, that's what I really love about this organization.
C92.
They brought in a lot of the best Korean talent that you could ask
พรุ่ง
for.
นี้น่าจะยาวๆ
With the legacy that this organization has all the way back from, the SKT days and whatever, and Faker and all of that. Like if you're a Korean player, representing these guys is like the peak of your career, where you'd want to be. So I think immediately they have that bargaining power, and from that point onwards, like this is a super team by all accounts.
Oh, super team. You're gonna call it
Korean super team.
Okay. I'm like,
not bad.
I didn't want you to put your neck on the line too quickly, especially given the performance that we had from Foot yesterday. I mean, that was a shock for me personally, and I said it yesterday that they were able to qualify in the fashion that they did. So yeah, no, going back to T1, I'm super excited to see this team. I think that there's just been a different buzz around the arena today, having all of these main events team come in now as well, and having all these sort of superstar names walking around the venue as well. I mean, I think people are just really excited.
Yeah, I mean, why would you not be? This is the final round of the first part of Swiss, the final match of the first round of Swiss. There we go. Look, sorry guys, it's the neons. They're just around my head the whole time. You just can't get away from it. But I think for another one of those teams, we'll start out with
ต่อไปคือทีมที่หนึ่ง
come from the play-in stage. You just heard Jorgamo talk all about it. They felt so
ว่ะพี่ฟุกนักลัด
those initial reps against the rosters that you wanted to play. From the other side of the bracket, though, means that the partner team that they played was just G2. That was it in the uppers, and then they were through.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's as though this stage will really start to test them, right? As they're going to be playing up against some teams that they may have the opportunity to play against next year. And just looking at this roster as well, I mean, we've kind of spoken about Zeus yesterday and his addition to this team and what that looks like. And, you know, he was really impressive in that Turkish qualifier. He was finishing as a top 3 player from the event. A lot of the fans, like we said, will be looking to see if he is going to be good enough to be that replacement for CNED and how he's going to kind of cope on the different duelists that this roster would like to run.
Yeah, I mean, highest in 3 of the different offensive statistics which we have for Turkey split to, one of them ACS, of course. But a stat from the international play-in stage that I do want to bring up, which I feel like is going to be important playing against T1, who are a team which can definitely punish you if you are getting very aggressive, would be the fact that he had the worst first deaths per round of any player, you know, at a .21. So almost, you know, a fifth of rounds where he's going in and dying. It's whether you get the trade off the back of him or not. And on that Neon pick, we've seen it's not the easiest to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we've seen a lot of that yesterday as well, is just having your initiators needing to come in and trade off the back of it. But of course, when your Neon is that fast-paced, sometimes it can be difficult. But looking at this T1 roster, Hazza, this is a complete new overhaul for T1, right? We've got new coaching staff, we've got new players. I mean, I think it was needed given how much the Pacific region, is growing, right? You've got Genji kind of being the big dogs in there, I suppose you could say. And obviously they were at Masters Madrid final, they were champs winners. Pacific now has a trophy in VCT. So I think this was well needed for T1 to be able to keep up with the growth in which Pacific is growing,
increasing in size. I get what you mean, right? I think Meteor making the move over to T1 as well from that Genji team that won and hoisted their first ever trophy, not just as a team, but for Pacific in Shanghai.
ทีมที่หนึ่งในกล่องดวงใจ
From this organization again, Buzz as well, rejoining with Stacks. Like, this is so good to see, man. The boys again back together. It makes me so happy to see and to get to cover this game as well. And I think when you think of duelists, for example, I'm not going to be considering these guys to bring out Neon on most of their maps. Sure, and like Jorgamo said, I think there are still situations where you're going to get a Neon from them, but these guys are planning for the future. That's what we expect from them. You want to talk Fnatic ahead of the curve and stuff, Vision Strikers were the curve like back in 2021.
No, definitely. I love that this has become what you could say is that DRX, that Genji core with these new pickups. So yeah, no, I'm really excited to get stuck into it. And like you say, a region that has been so innovative as well and trying to get ahead of the curve and stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to see if they do play into that Neon or if they're gonna play something a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned like the Gen G aspect to it as well, because you've got Meteor in here, but a player that I'm really excited to watch is going to be Sylvan, who was on Gen G that previous year just before they broke out and had this crazy international run in 2024. Spent a little bit of time in China, the same as some of the coaching staff that we've got here, like Chongak, for example. He's now come in as one of the assistant coach. They got so many coaches. He was with Wolves for most of last year. Like, yeah, it's just ridiculous to see. They're kind of casting a wide net over Asia as a whole for that Korean talent, because you have quite a few of them now playing in the CN League as well, which is a strong proving ground, I think, to be fishing names from.
Yeah, and I like as well how we have this org picking up all Korean talent as well, right? And it's the same with Foot, all Turkish talent, right? So I really like when orgs are able to have that representation for that region too. So yeah, no, it's going to be super exciting. I keep saying it's going to be super exciting because T1, they just like, they have such a wealth of experience that I can imagine that every single team in this tournament is hoping that they get the chance to go up against T1.
Yeah, and you even heard it from Benji there as well when we did the interview at the start of the day that he wanted to play T1, and I think it's kind of crazy as well when you look at the teams that we have at this event. You have some of the newer ones which have broken out in recent years, formerly Footballist, but then you've got your Cloud9s, your Fnatics, your T1s of the world. That's where the expectation is, and when that jersey sat on your shoulders where you feel a little bit more weight, I think. And T1 now, even with their academy system, you can see that they have put the time and effort in to be scouting for new talents for the future. I mentioned his name earlier, but they said, we want to find the Faker of Valorant, but that's not going to be from pre-existing talent that have come in from other games and stuff like that. It is someone who have been born and bred on the bloody game. So that's what they'll want. But for Foot, from yesterday, to just spin back in contrast, what are you really hoping from them to clash against this T1 team that has a wealth of experience of their own? For someone like Zeus.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't know what to expect. And I like that you use the word expectations, because I think that that's exactly what we had in that previous matchup of KC, right? And now we can go into this one and say, oh yeah, but you know, it's T1, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they've got a wealth of experience. But look at what we've just seen in that previous matchup. We had so many expectations of KC in that previous one that maybe the jersey will get to the
นานมากครับ
พี่ว่า maps, thinking about maps, I mean
น่าจะ T1 ป่ะ
don't know what to expect.
It is. I'm kind of wondering, you know, what the best option is going to be for us here, and we can take a look at
ต้องดูฟอร์มสุดก่อน
work out where it is that these teams are off to, and it's Ascent.
โอ้โห Ascent ด้วย T1 แน่ๆเลยเลือกทรงละ
To see Ascent. It feels like an old
ยังไงพี่ด่านนี้พี่เลยให้ใคร
I'm not going to expect to see a neon. It's going to be fundamental, perfect test of what the
Foot
look like.
เอาเรื่
Maybe
อง
boring, but loads of teams have been banning this out as of recent. Lots of people don't want to see it in the pool. This is a situation where maybe it works.
I think the biggie for me is T1 picking into this map. Of course, in EMEA, we always say, you know, Ascent, it is the Turkish playground for Turkish players. So I think that's the big one for me. They are obviously very confident in what they've been practicing and what they have set up for this one. And I'm just looking forward to getting stuck into it now.
Yeah, I mean, from Foot, we've seen them play Ascent many times before in terms of their record, flawless. They're comfortable with that one, of course. And for T1, I think for me, the nuance with the ban comes down to those final two maps. Bind was the other one. They were running the Vice comp on there in the GES tournament, which we had in China recently. So I think it kind of makes sense that with there being some tape there, with the matchups being released last night, Foot will have had time to think about what it is they want to bring into this one. As I said before, the organizations have faced
DFM เมย์มันเคย1-5โดยเลื่อนเหลือ30อยู่โคตรโหดเลย
Need I say more?
แบบว่าทุกคนออกมาเทรดกัน4 คนเลือด30มันทำได้ไงอันนั้นคือปาฏิหาริย์
their ideation as to
เกิดอะไรขึ้นวะ
to play out this map. So yeah, we're really going to get to see.
แต่ตอนนั้นอยู่ทีม CR อยู่
And the best part for me is as well when you talk about pushing the boat out on this map and
โอ้ยอยากเห็นฟอร์มสุดว่ะพี่คู่นี้น่าจะมัน
นี่แหละอีก2 คนสุดท้ายของฟุตไปไม่ถึงฝันสักที
ซีเน็ตไม่เอาอ่ะ
ซีเน็ตไม่สุดอ่ะ
มันผีเข้าผีออกอ่ะซีเน็ตเดี๋ยววันไหนแม่งโหดก็โหดใช่ไหมวันไหนไม่โหดก็คือหลับไปเลย
This is going to be exciting. Like, I'm just.
That's it, Billy. Let's get straight in. Nothing more to be said.
แล้วส่วนใหญ่จะไม่ใช่มาบ่อยเลยจะหลับส่วนใหญ่จะหลับ
Putting up their best defense, starting out with a peak
เพิ่มเสียงครับทีมที่1
จับตาดูครับโปรนี้ครับ
T1.
น้องอุดน้องเล็ก
Still not really doing a whole lot.
จบคู่นี้คู่สุ
In
ด
the
ท้ายครับ
first sort of 20 seconds of the round, Taza.
พี่แครกยังอยู่ฮะ พี่แครก
แครกยังอยู่แค่ขาดไปได้
นี่อย่าไปก่อน
double dips, just the one for him.
เขาเยอะดิ
Blazing red through to the B site. Cutting things
Q1
open nice and early in towards this retake. You got to look at the util that's still available for Foot.
นี่ก็โดนอะไรอย่างเงี้ย
เลือดมันสูบฉีด
Spike's not even gone down yet, and as I say that, they do start to bit out some sort of plan and foot
แต่มันสอด
aware of
โซ่
this, but it's just a
ใช่อะมันจะ
question
มี
of
อีก
whether or
อะ
not they clear this
เอ็ก
location that
อุด
Buzz is in.
มันต้องเป็นอ่างอุดไง
Leading that offensive
Not
line.
wood,
Stacks
collect.
have a flash from main, but he's yet to use it. Now suppressed. Will have to wait the time out to get that opportunity. Atta Captain spotted Buzz. He lives on limited time now. Has to fight his way from trouble, and trouble arrives on his very doorstep. Cracks with that one back, and now a 3-on-3. Still yet to be uncovered.
เฮ้ยเมื่อกี้เป้ามันดูดไปขวา
One for Atta
อย่างกับแฮก
Captain, but with the advantage, continuing to run into this site and
กว่าพี่แตกจะออกมา
when he wants to show up. There's nothing left.
เพื่อนตายหมดไซด์แล้วพี่แตกก็ยังมุดโมกอยู่
Round number 1.
ซ่อมให้หมดเลยครับ ให้พี่ๆมาซ่อมให้
Really, really nice retake there for foot with that combination of utility.
อุด
You've
อยากรู้
seen
อยาก
that
เห็นหน่อย
paranoia
เมื่อกี้
come through from
มันจะเป็น
Atakan
ฟุตป่ะ
in market, and it allowed Cracks to come out of that CT position. It was just so synchronized, so nice to see.
Just got to wonder there.
พี่แตกเหมือนเพิ่งตื่นอ่ะเกิดอะไรขึ้นเหรอ
It's really difficult when the knife drops there into the smoke. I don't know what side of the smoke he was on, but you know, the vision is a problem. Knife for Cracks now as well was thinking about lobbing it over the top of a main to give that info, and he will. It goes off yet again, and that's Sylvan spotted.
ปัดมาแล้วใช้สักหน่อย
I cannot use that.
Shock Dart's gonna do a
ยิง
bit of damage to Stacks, and T1 having to just give up that space now.
อัสอยู่ที่วันนะผม
Something for Mr. Fallen as well was
ทะเลาะกับ
exceptional with those
เธอ
assists
มิเลย
yesterday, even on the breach. The stuns
ย้าย
coming
มา
in at
ที
the
วัน
perfect time.
ทะเลาะกับเธอมี
An age-old tale here. The Sova on ascent.
แล้วโดนด้วยนะเมื่อกี้ไอ้
It's
ยิงทะลุ
basically
แบบ
all I play in my own games. I don't think I've lost like a single ascent when I'm playing Sova because those walls are paper thin, man. I'm not Mr. Fallen though. I will let you know that.
Oh, don't worry.
The trenches of the
before เขานิ่งไง
high diamond low ascendant lobbies not exactly the same as this, but Zeus
เปิด
now
มุมหมด
hitting
ครับ
the
เลยนะ
ใคร
stage.
อยากดูทีมอะไรคีนๆอ่ะดูฟุตอ่ะยิงกันแต่ละคนนี่แบบ
And foot
เป้า
run
คีนจัด
riot. It's actually the Ares of that map
Ares
we were
boy.
talking about, which gets more work done, and I think that's going to be a
คุณ
big
เดชตอน
piece
นี้
for them to keep into the
อยู่
bonus
บ้าน
as
นะผม
well.
Yeah, definitely.
ไม่ได้กดตีถ้าอยู่จ
As
ริงๆครับ
well, screaming backstage.
I put my money on that being Yeta
ใจเย็นพี่ไม่มาสอง
ใช่เหรอไอ้คุณเรียนประกาศเป็นสตรีมเมอร์หรอ
Heading into this one so far, T1, they play in tier 1, not T2, have not been too
นี่ถ้า
active.
เกิดฟุตมันได้
Quite slow.
อัลฟาเจอร์มาอีกคน
In terms
รว
of
ม
the setup
ตุ
here,
รกี
you
นะ
are going straight to the jaws of Yeta J. With this
เอามาแทน
full
ใครอ่ะ
setup, all in
นั่นน่ะดิมันลงล็อกหมดแล้ว
position. This is such a
ใช่
nice read.
จริงๆไอ้คุณเรนนี่
Nice.
ไปต่อได้นะ
Oh,
Aggression out from
and-
foot
สี่
two.
ห้าวไป
Yeah,
หน่
I
อย
mean, look, that's the play
แต่พี่
that
มีทีโอเขาดัก
T1 created long ago. And Meteor knows that all too well.
โอ้ยเจ็บ
มองเลยว่าลงแหล่งดอกเมื่อกี้
Despite this Killjoy setup being on A, I mean, T1 able to get in there. Little bits of chip damage done if you're looking at Stacks and Izo's HP, and that is
แม่ง
That's so
ไม่ตาย
nice.
ทะลุก็ตายช็อกด้านอยู่ดิ
Through the short wall. Atta Captain does go down. But
Oi.
short-handed by one player. Mr. Fallen trying to flood through. Stopped in his tracks. T1 on the site now. Should be battening
เบื่อส
down
โมกประ
the
ตูตรง
hatches
ไอ้
from
โอเมน
this
มากเลย
position.
แม่ง
Yes,
โดน
Jake,
แก้สัก
one
ที
ก็
kill.
ไม่ได้แล้ว
And that's one less rifle that you've got to think about. The money is not in a
ขี้
great
โกงจัด
place
อะ
for
คือแม่งเหมือน
T1.
ปิด
That's
ตายไป
all you need. One kill,
โหด
and
เกิน
that's a success story for me.
Spike ticking down, and as you said, yeah, Jay just looking to isolate some sort of fight, but it will be the Killjoy on the
นับไว
opposing
แล้วก็
side.
เสียน้อย
Let's take that last
ด่าน
one
เกา
away.
หลี
Brilliant from Meteor. Nice
Yes,
setup,
got it.
T1. Disciplined, not looking to swing
ด่าน
out
นี้
onto any
ฟุตก็
angles.
โห
You
ด
just have to sweep round the back. I like the wall bang after the drone hits.
Meng.
Because that's the thing too. Like
It's
I
a
was
spam.
mentioning earlier, the ranked games, you'll be the one buying the Odin. You don't usually have a teammate with heavy weapon pen, so if you do actually make that call ahead of time and there's 2 points from which you can actually be worried about
มัน
being
อัปเกรด
killed, then
Peter
it
Falling.
was really nicely set up by Foot, but nothing more than that for now. The Odin has graced our screens finally. Just the rifles for T1 as they look to take A main again. Here is Zeus, fighting back through, just the info, dashes away.
กะจะวันแท็บเลยน่ะ
Similar round to the previous Haza from T1's attack. Meteor is going to be spotted out by that. No, just the turret that's spotted out by the drone, so it's not too bad so far. And T1 looking to just contact up A main and leave Foot guessing at the moment.
Yeah, Atta Captain Smoke is useful in a sense. It acts as a blocker. It meant that initial push wasn't going to come through, but it's only a matter of time before it does. Paranoia perfectly placed. Zeus, just the one, traded immediate, but that's when Cracks steps into the dojo. 2 back for him, still 2 standing on T1, and both of them equal to the sum of their parts. A 2 on 2 with the spike yet to be planted, but that flank coming in by Yetajay.
Mr. Fallen looking to go for another spam, but Sylvan more than aware of it.
ตีเลย
Now this is a difficult ult to try and break if you're Yetajay, so he's just biding the time and looking out for the info, but Sylvan has the perfect counter, and Meteor claims T1's second round.
วิดีโอเอาการันตีวินเลย
Interesting that they decided to commit the Killjoy ult there. 2v2, maybe felt as though they needed to get more space.
Well, that's the thing, if it goes off towards heaven, you can go so far as to garden, tree, a little bit further up, or at least threaten that position. So it was something that needed to be re-cleared by Foot. They didn't have the knowledge in mind that Yetajay was main, but even then, I mean, as I said, it's in the corner. You've got Jen on the other side. You can't break it.
Yeah.
And now they find themselves on the low investment. After how good the defense looked yesterday, it's struggling so far on Ascent in these gun rounds.
And it is T1 that has picked up an Odin of their own going into this one.
ถ้าอยู่ดีสูมันยิงมุมดีฟอลต์นี่แตกเลยนะ
Mr. Fallen has been really great at keeping hold of this B main presence.
I mean, he has the Sheriff. He could send a couple back through, and he
มุมไหนที่ยิง
does.
ข้างบนหน้าชิดอะนะ
A gentleman's agreement, but nothing
ไอ้
more
มุม
than that.
ปก
No
ติมันเนี่ย
damage.
มุมเมื่อกี้
And now, with the pistol right in front of the
Ui,
smoke,
ui,
he would have
ui.
wanted that so bad. Buzz over the top.
Ui.
This is one of the angles that you have to clear,
Ow.
but they don't. They just
อุ้ย
allow
เกือบตัวที่สี่
Fallen to be
เชี่ย
let off
จะเอา
the
4เลย
leash.
เมื่อกี้
He rips 3 heads from the
มึงเมมยิงเลย
server.
เมื่อกี้
Now, T1,
โอ้โหนี่
half
ก็4 เหมือนกัน
numbers, and this
4 คน
time they're not good for it. It has to be
เจ๋งเลย
stacks up against 4. Captain Fantastic, how much is there to be said of this with the paranoia in his face?
โอ้ย ช้อปปิ้ง
Foot win the round that they had no business taking.
Haza, you have to ask, what are T1 thinking there? They paranoia
They
it
knew
and they
now.
just don't think to even check it. He's full blind and he gets away with something criminal there.
Yeah, those are the 2 angles that you need to clear. Logs
รวยเลย
just under
Oh my
switch in
God.
the corner. Buzz flies over the top, as I said. Like,
Get
that is
in.
your set execute, and that is one of the points that you need to account for, really. You see it here again, but nothing taken away from the individual moment itself. Second follow-up there. I mean, there's not even a second for Meteor to have thought about turning his head. And from that point onwards, you're just looking to find anything extra, and that's where
เมื่อกี้
T1
ครับ
get their hand bitten off.
เสกจัด
5
อะ
หัวเจอลิฟต์หมด
Complete
อุ้ยอุ้ย
phase change for
ท่า
Foot
นี้
here, looking to
มาแบบไม่มีสโมก
early
เลย
aggro A main, and Sylvan's position is known about.
Couple of times that they've done that now.
แฟดมันค่อนข้างส่งพลังเมื่อกี้มันเลยกล้า
Tempo setter.
มีทั้ง
for
พลานอย
T1.
นะไอ้นี่เลย
In with the half by Yetajay. He's just storming the halls of B main. He has the info.
And
They
how
know
do I-
T1
Oi,
are
lol.
stacked up towards this side of the map.
โอ้
It's
โหเหลือดุ
meaning
อันเนี้ย
either all 5 or a
Oh.
4-1 split from the rounds that we've seen up until this point. Meteor has been good at checking
Meteor
his
check ไง
position, not getting caught, and he will not
ไม่เนียน
this time. That's a rifle back in T1's
Lock up,
hands, and a lot more space on the map once all that
ประส
killjoy
บการณ์
utils
สูงตัวนี้
dropped.
เดือดจัด
It opens up the round, Hazza, but look at Foot just playing so disciplined still over towards that A side, not even going to react off of that pick that Meteor gets.
จบเลยกำลังเซตเข้าเลย
Same util that you've seen 1,000 times over, but the result favors the defenders. Atta Captain pulls away 3. And while Meteor still does have this rifle, that flank is on limited time. The next of the players has been spotted. Stacks Meteor gives up the knowledge of where he stands with the spike out in the
ตั้งเป็น
open.
ป้อม
มันคิดเร็วนะรู้ว่ามีสิทธิ์
10
มา
seconds left on the clock.
มาช็อต
2v3 and
มันถอยไปเล่นกับเพื่อนเลยเอาเฮ้ย
Trying to make the double up. 2 players in hell. They'll get dropped. Here comes Meteor. Wants the ace. Zeus to deny it, but he can't. Meteor at the death.
ชนะหรือบอกใครชนะวะ
Catastrophic event.
พี่วันเลย
เอ้าเหรอเวลาจะหมดพอดีพี่
Meteor putting the rest of his team on his back that round, doing absolutely everything to get all 5. From that opening pick, starting off with the Sheriff at the very start of the round.
Yeah. I think that's the kill that wins
เป็น
them
ท่อม
the
กระ
round.
บอกเดียว
Honestly, I get it. Sure, it's just one rifle, right? You say that, but the Killjoy util was lost. Yetije, all of the mid control gone. Continues that flank forwards. And just the missed ult fire from Zeus is going to feel so frustrating there. So much so, they call a timeout.
ไม่มี
อุดนะอุดหมดแล้วเหรอครับเบิร์ดใช้ไปได้ไหม
After
อ๋อ
that.
อุดไม่รู้เหมือนกัน
Those are
น่าจะมี
rounds
มั้ง
that
โอ้
you
มัน
shouldn't be losing.
โลกจัดเลยเมื่อกี้
And if anything, you want to put a pause on it because the confidence
Maybe
that
walk
Meteor would
into-
have after a round like that, almost getting
Wow.
that lockdown back up online
ตัด
as
ตัวครับ
well.
ผม
These last couple of rounds, the ones that you sort of take as a given for granted, almost, I suppose you could say. It's quite funny how we had that corner not get cleared. 3 kills,
จะได้
Mr.
ปัด
Fallen.
จาก DRX
Meteor has 5
วิดีโอ
from a
จากเจน
repossessed
จี
rifle.
โอ้โห
Doesn't take much.
But I think that's the excitement of what we've seen so far, Hazza, is how flip-flop a lot of these games have been, right? And that it can so easily swing in your favor from moments and hero plays like that.
And that's what Foot have built themselves upon as well. That's what we know them for. Those hero plays, stand-up moments, stand-out moments. A drone over the top of the alarm bot, but it's to the sum of nothing. Mr. Fallen has no extra information filled in on the captain's sheet to try and work out what it is that T1 are up to, because they've got some big ults to make a play here and plenty of utility behind that as well.
ขอบคุณคุณเอ็มยุนนะครับผมสำหรับสมาชิก
T1
นะครับ
starting to look towards an A split here, but it's whether or not Zeus is able to catch anything with that op in his hand this round.
Zeus just holding the line. Flash drops in right in front. The smoke was there. It just popped on the edge. There was a chance he could have pulled the trigger, but no, he shies away from it. And Buzz, in the face of danger, shows up with the results at a captain right back. Volleys 2 of his own, making it a third as Stacks is brought down to his hands and knees. They're hoping for their savior yet again, and it will come in the form of Meteor.
Meteor's got all the work to do here. Needs to find a way to isolate those fights, but the one paranoia is going to delay him.
Doesn't have the tools to do it either. Mr. Fallen will take that first fight, but doesn't need to show anymore. He goes wide, but the shots will land. Foot out the back of that timeout, looking much better in that round.
พี่ฟุกยังเก็บออกมาให้โอกาสน้องหน่อยพี่น้องจะลุกไปหน่อย
So it'll be interesting to see Zeus set up into this one and what exactly that looks like, but I mean, Zeus got really unlucky that round. Just getting spammed through a smoke from Buzz there.
Yeah, no rest for the wicked, right? It hasn't been the best from him so far, but if that's what we're calling 5 and 5, then can't wait to see more from him in the regular season. The one I have to talk about for now, though, is just Atta Captain on these sites, and that's what we were talking about. Foot, these big plays, you stick a Phantom in his hands, and that's only going one direction. T1 back in the bargain basket. But Meteor has his Phantom, so, you know, which is better? I guess we'll have to find out.
I mean, after that ace round,
Yeah. You know, like
It's a
Harry Hill would
scary-
say, there's only one way to find out, and that's to fight. And we're going to see that very shortly. Zeus does have the op, though, and in terms of utility, well, the Paranoia and Flash Drive are available to try and clear him off here. The drone to take first contact. If they want to go by the book, there are many ways to approach this. One of them's jumping straight across, and that has worked out the better. Here come the blades. Buzz not going to miss from that kind of distance. Next player revealed looking
น้องอู๊ดบ
for
อก
it.
ทำไมเป็นผมอีกแล้วนะครับ
Resounding the site with the use
Bizarre,
of their
you look
own.
like that.
Hunter's Fury has bought a window, and T1 just can't capitalize from their entry.
And that's the lockdown going to be committed
Hey.
now as well to try and get back into this explosive take that they were trying to do to begin with.
โอ้
but
แล้วมันได้จริง
yesterday-
แล้วมันได้จริง
It's standard foot again. They will
Ui.
be right up against it, and well, Atacapton is the last one left, so he comes into the retake with T1, a new
แต่เมื่อกี้
lease
ต้องเอา
on
สุดแล้วมัน
life.
ไม่ถอยมาละ
Izu is completely separated from Stax right now. The knife will reveal his position, but just not accounting for Izu. A thrifty triple puts T1 back on course.
And T1 really lucky to kind of close that one out. I mean, they kind of left Buzz for dust.
ทำไม KO มันถึงถอยวะมันไม่ยิงช่วย
This is the thing, though. When your duelist is
โดนแฟดเหรอ
actually an aeroplane and you've got like the nanos
มัน
right
ถื
in
อ
the
ของหรือปะ
choke, it's
ไม่
kind
มัน
of
มันถือ
hard
ปืน
to
มายิง
follow
เลยพี่
that
มัน
up,
ยิง
so
นัดสองนัด
he's
แล้วมันก็
very much left to his own
ไปทางซ้าย
devices and how much utility they can toss
หลบ
through
น่าจะ
the
โดนแฟด
window.
Yeah.
I think the big takeaway for me, though, is that it's another thrifty round which T1 have ended up winning here.
Yeah. Never count the all-Korean roster out when they're down.
ปืนทำชั่ว
Foot, their decision on the previous to fight within the lockdown shouldn't come as a surprise. Constantly at the throats of T1, giving them jewels, which has worked out for them before, and here it's going to, again, Atacapton leaves behind him Zeus with the Vandal in hands, but T1 moving ever closer to this B split now. And in terms of coordination, I don't expect any kind of disconnect here. Stax finishing off the right-hand side of the map, but to have all of their pieces on B, that's an issue. The TP is bringing this one elsewhere.
Like you said, has a TP on A. I mean, Spike heads towards there and does go down for a plant. And it's all up to Cracks, really, to see what he can actually find out with the rest of this round.
Nada. Nish. Nothing. Is he actually going for it? Okay, fair play, Cracks. And that's number 3.
For the ace.
Could it be an ace? Yeah, well, you know what?
เจอสองด้วย
We said that this was going to be an exciting matchup, a word we threw around a whole lot of times. Can Cracks give us anything else to be excited about here? No. Sylvan will shut it down. A disciplined T1 is a dangerous one.
กะจะให้เขาหลบแฟด
The
มั้ง
double
แล้ว
up
ยิงฟรี
from Tree will lend them the lead again.
You have to respect him for going for it.
Yeah, you do.
You have to respect it.
And I think, you know, I'm glad that our esport doesn't have a save meta, to be honest, Billy. It does make for better entertainment for someone who's seen the other side of the curtain, quite thankfully. But I think even there, though, just the micro now for T1 starting to be developed a little bit more since we saw them in play-ins after taking that initial loss in another best-of-one to Zeta.
ไม่ใช่ในลีกนี่แหละครับ
They've
ผม
continued to improve, and on a map as fundamental as this, despite their opponents and the credentials that they have here, it is a compliment to the
จำไม่ได้
Koreans.
BBL ป่ะ
ในอีมีนี่แหละอุ๊ดตื่นสนามครับผมน้องมัน
T1 looking to
รายการใหญ่อันแรก
get
อันนี้
towards B after
แต่มันแบกนะใน
in mid.
Ascension อีมีคือมัน
I
โน
mean,
หนึ่งนะ
Mr.
ตัวเนี้ย
Fallen, we've praised him for being on this B site. Still 3 foot players over towards B, and it will be Zeus that takes the first contact. That's Meteor down and out the round, Hazza.
Yeah, you can't slow peek around the corner like that. Look at this angle that Zeus is holding. He's still there, fighting like a true blue foot player. Another kill that he finds, just hitting like a truck right now. Mr. Fallen's there too, and Cracks has held up his end of the bargain. Sylvan, the last one standing. 4 players in front. That's only ended one way so far, and that's with a foot round. 5-5, the scoreline again tied.
ต้องให้ทักก่อน
Back to back to back to back rounds. But I think that's what we expected coming into this one, Hazza. I mean, we have an insane amount of pedigree on each sides here, right?
Yeah. I think just the way that Zeus takes these fights is so off the beaten path for a Jet player. I mean, you have like the off angle on the stairs up to market that a lot of people use, but for him there, he's just off the shoulder, knowing that he gets the advantage before the player that peeks him if they're closer to the wall. Simple geometry. And now T1 on a mixed buy for once it's Meteor actually that is the only concession.
ไลน์อัพ
มีคอนเฟลเฉย
Killjoy set up towards A this round for Foot, and it is going to work to delay that push. And once again, we see Buzz entering the site with no support. I mean, what can you do? Those volleys are delaying the rest of the team, and Spike goes down on A, Hazza.
Zeus defensively looking brilliant in this gun round. It's just a pistol and Meteor left. Such a frustrating place to be right now, because this is Foot getting ready to give themselves a first half advantage, or at the very least, they will break even. We know that now.
เวอร์ชันอัปเกรด
I like the idea from what it's worth for T1 to try and beat that
คือ
util
ธรรมดา
trap
มันก็
by
โหด
having
แหละ
Sylvan TP in behind Buzz. You've got a little bit more maneuverability there
จ้าเอ๋
towards A than you do
เสริม
on
แบบ
B.
พร้อม
With
ท้า
the
ชิง
same
อะ
kind of execute, it is a different result. Foot up
ทีม
6
ระดับ
to
สเปอร์
5 with one final
ที่
chance
ไม่
to
มี
give themselves the lead.
แฮร์รี่เคน
Yeah, I mean, you've seen a similar kind of idea as to what they've had on B site in previous rounds from T1 there, right? But I mean, that Killjoy setup is just, it's impossible to
แต่
get
สไตล์การเล่น
through.
มันดูไม่ค่อยแบบว่าอยู่นิ่งๆนะมันชอบทำ
And
อะไร
Foot
แบบ
as
เดิน
well.
ไม่เดิน
Credit
มา
to them for having the reads on T1's attack so far.
วัยรุ่นวัยรุ่น
Yeah, Foot looked
ไม่ค่อยโฮอยู่
defensively
กับที่
brilliant yesterday. Slight concern for me when we do swap halves is going to be how much freedoms does Yetajay get on this map in
ไม่เที่ยว
comparison to what he had
พว
on
กอะไร
Haven
พวกมึง
and
จะ
all
ตื่น
those gaps
กู
that
ยิง
they
อยู่
were
คน
able
เดียว
to
เลย
find. Questions which will be answered soon, but for now, one more round left to play inside this opening 12. Ults for T1
ไม่
to
ได้
try
ตี
and
ได้เยอะ
work
แล้ว
on
T1
their
อะ
execute, but Foot already drawing blades. And, I mean, with a lockdown and null command, probably thinking a bit more of a retake.
Potentially, but on the other side, T1, Hunter's Fury and no command of their own.
This is where you want to pressure A, the site that you've been conditioning so far throughout the half, to see if you can draw something out from Foot and then lend it B late, because honestly, I think the null command is big for the B retake, but the lockdown could be difficult to get that one going, whereas Value here a bit different, and I'll tell you what, they wipe it off the face of the earth with the ult themselves, and now they can get the plant in.
ได้ไซส์4เลยครับ
Looking as though they're going to be using this Hunter's Fury as well in this post plant and
มีอันติคิวจอยครับ
Foot.
เป็นแชรี่เทค
That's brilliant from Stacks. Just buying a little bit more time with the knife, with the knowledge in mind that these ults are
Don't
still
buy
available.
Killjoy.
Cracks was not
They
suppressed,
back
so he
him
can
all.
use the null command. After the knife drops, he now knows they have the info. Short is
Ow.
clear. All bodies on the site
You
for
guys
T1
jack.
looking to try and wipe the slate clean. Hunter's
Man
Fury
lead
comes in
lead
as that
อีกทีว่ะ
counter, and still
ที่หลังคีโอต้องมา
no
กดอันติ
damage
นี่นะ
traded. Time is of the essence.
ตรง
Foot
ก
got
ลาง
to get
แบ
a
บ
move on, or
ท็อป
this
มิด
one
อะไรเงี้ย
is going to slip from the palm of their hand. TP across into the smoke.
Ow.
Atacaptim fighting, roaring again.
Ow.
The Foot
Oi.
Lions
What?
making their mark. Meteor still here. He has been in the apocalypse
Oh,
for them
Ow.
before, but can't clean up
Time.
this time. It's all done. There just wasn't enough. T1 level that score when the halftime whistle blows.
And it's like you said, Hazza, that knife off of Stacks, right?
Yeah.
It stopped Foot being able to come in and use those ults, which were their protocols that round. And it was time that ended up losing them the round.
And it's the like crazy deep positioning from Izu as well, and you'll see it on the, on the replay there too. He's almost back in spawn using the ult, because they know that, like, there's so much to dissect there. Right, okay, you've got the lockdown, but then the null command is reinforcing it, but then the Hunter's Fury is the counter.
ถือว่าอ่านขาด
Zeus, mate. Guy's nuts. Like, he's just going to run riot here. And I think, look, if you've got the same kind of setup that Buzz enjoyed on previous rounds, he's going to hit those shots and find the openers which they need. Mid is where they will ply their trade first, though.
Yeah, just following that drone up there to see if they can get anything in market. And I mean, they're going to be given the space. T1 happy to just play deep on B site here.
There is no pause, no pump of the brakes on this one either. It's straight onto the breach and into the B site. T1 cooped up, ready to shut down. Nice shot, Buzz. He gets out somehow. Stacks with number 7. A brilliant pistol served up by T1.
I mean, I know you said, nah, Zeus, mate, before that round, but maybe it's the Jet on the opposing side that we need to be keeping our eye out for. I mean, that shot was disgusting to just get away with that and then dash away. I mean, fair play. You had 3 players facing you. And of course, Stack's able to come in and clean the rest of them up.
Someone who always shows his best performance on LAN, Stacks. Not making an international VCT event since Champions the year prior, 2023, and I think if you were to go back as one of those Pacific slots, this has to be on your list. He's got the players that he wanted, with the coaching staff of Autumn behind him as well. The mad scientist, as he's been called, to give fans the results that they deserve this year. This event a stepping stone to that. But Foot giving them a good run for their money so far. And Buzz, well, I'll tell you what, there's a reason why they wanted him on the roster. And with just the Sheriff, leave the rifles to do the rest.
Young.
I mean, one enemy remaining.
ยังเอาไปที่1
utility deeply, you know that you didn't have a buy going into that round.
เล่นดีกว่า
It's going into this one, Hazard. That we need to see if there's any sort of pace change from Foot on this track.
Yeah, if they want to bring that in early doors, this is great from Buzz. He already knew where the silhouette was. He didn't need to see him. And Meteor cleaning up as well. I love how the Nano goes in the corner.
Gets a kill, yeah.
Still on the edge of it. He ends up going down. Statement of intent from T1 with this kind of a buy, though. Off and the Odin in play. Very passive position from Buzz here. And I think that's what we come to expect from his Jet sometimes, to be sitting on those deeper lines as your last point of defense. The 0-point suppression, which would have been a problem had Zeus not peeked into his crosshair with no trades.
Yeah, that is going to put Foot on the back foot going into this one. Losing their entry when going onto these sites.
And it's another first kill for Buzz as well. He was second highest at Champs Gone By. That's why we call him the best Korean duelist. You know who was in front?
Tell me, Hazza.
Kang. So, you know,
MVP.
Good company up there at the top. and I have to say, look, on the defense here, if you just allow him to set up with this gun, it's going to be so difficult to fight through. T1 buying themselves more time with the utility set up here as well. Meteor off the shoulder of Izu. It's Buzz that cracks the whip first. Yetajay shown out of this one. And in terms of positions on the map, well, where is Atta Captain in all of this? Trying to boost up around the side, whereas Mr. Fallen is left to just a single point of health. He'll try and thread the needle through the gap, but it makes for a ninth. And T1 start to put some breathing room between the teams.
The furthest gap we've seen from these two, so it's been so back and forth constantly.
I think coming out of that first half, despite how attacking Foot can be at times, it is a defender-sided map. And T1 with the fundamentals which they have built, honed, refined over the last 3 to 4 years of team experience that they share amongst themselves, then yeah, the sum of their parts worth their weight in gold right now.
Cover going out. Coming into this one though, Hazza. Foot ready to just take the aggression. Oh, Buzz!
Nah! Headshot onto Atta Captain. Insult to injury. Excess, you could say. Sylvan with yet another. Here is Buzz in support. Shorty comes out. Up behind him. No scope. Doesn't matter. The rifles will finish it flawlessly. T1, the first team to break double digits and build on their ever-growing lead.
It's Buzz's world right now, Hazza, and we are quite literally just living in it. The amount of blind picks that he's had so far this map has been disgusting.
I think,
you know, Jet plus Op plus Short, you've done it thousands and thousands of times over. He just knows where to place the crosshair and get the kill. It's instinctive, honestly. I don't feel like right now T1 are having to dip in.
อินแต่ความรู้สึกช็อตนี้
Seconds which T1 had to play around with.
Going into round 17, Hazza, what are we expecting to see from Foot after that timeout?
Look, I think you want to see
ช่วงกลุ่มพานะครับผม
more calculated plays. Make the most of the util. T1 taking the words out my mouth. So nice to just give that adjustment of the Odin spam from short. The reveal over the top with the suppression to stop. Foot not even given half a chance to enact their own game plan here, Billy. That's the most worrying part.
And that initial pick has kind of forced Foot into this Killjoy setup that's already waiting for them on A. But I mean, look at all of T1's players.
Oh, they're getting melted inside the mollies. Meteor standing behind this. Inside the smoke. So many areas in which he could get attacked, but reinforces his position well, trying to divide it up. Yesterday falls by his side, given so much life to this T1 side. He makes it look easy, and it's crazy as well, because as I was saying, no one checked it on that side. There were so many places where he could have been caught, pincered, but no.
Yeah, no, he was just dancing. Even that first kill that we've seen coming out from Aizu, ridiculous, right? Are you expecting a Sova to peek you from there with an Odin? Probably not.
Brilliant work from Meteor. Foot, couple rifles. They want to keep this competitive. Stave off the undying T1.
ชนะแน่พี่เอ๋ยครับ
ตอนฝั่งรับโดนบัฟกระทุ้งไปด้วยไม่ได้เล่นเลย
เขาบอกว่าฟุตโดนบัฟพี่เอ๋ยนี่เรื่องจริงมั้ย
About to bag himself some important information. It's right above the head of Zeus. An Atta Captain here. Someone's got to break it. Both get revealed, and luckily they're not going to take a single point of damage.
โอ้โหแล้วคิดดูเกาหลีมันเป็นท่อมทุกคนอยู่แล้วอะ
บัฟเกาหลีโอ้โหไม่เป็นไรนิดเดียวพี่ไม่ดิบเยอะหรอก
At least threaten the cross or to have broken the nanos, which we know Meteor has kept using right up in these chokes, but Sylvan's been left unchecked towards Wine. Fortunately enough, the fragment falls at his feet.
Stacks could get overwhelmed on this site, but look at this positioning from Buzz.
Yeah, the question now is how much can Stacks do to stop Foot from getting in the site, give himself half a chance. He's going to take them all! Yes, he is! Stacks up to his third. The court is locked in once Buzz has said his piece. I said buy time. He cashed in instead.
I mean, I questioned just then, was Stacks going to get overwhelmed? And it's not often you expect a KO to be the anchor of a site, but no Meteor needed on A there.
I think as well from DICE, you have such a strong position to play the KO. You can underhand the flashes over the top, just stall it out a little bit, the fragment too, but instead it is just pure mechanics. Stacks, the Lanimal, leading by example. Another IGL who's feasting on frags right now. Foot down at half the score, yet to find a round on their attack. Could this be it, or is it over for now? Yetterjay, that's buzz gone.
You should run.
Plenty more to be worried about after this lockdown.
Lockdown invested, but Aizu potentially going to not.
ใช่เหรอมันจะช็อกดาดพังไอ้นี่เลย
มันต้องมีสกิลปะ
Safer plant on the spam, knowing the Odin was in play, it makes sense that Foot wanted to go for that. Actually, I say that, it wasn't the safe. The Odin could have spammed that, but it's kind of worked the opposite way. I think T1 sort of expecting a little more from them there, perhaps, in that sense. The dart goes on forever, but once Meteor arrives, the result is expected. 2 from him, Sylvan off the back, Izu in the clutch. The spam's brought it to a 1v1. Atta Captain in Boathouse. He walks out now onto the site, trying to get a lay of the land, weigh this one up in the corner. Izu may just expect this. Walking down the speedway, soon he will drop. He spots Atta Captain, who keeps them going. The first round for Foot, but will it be enough?
That was closer than it needed to be for Foot. They're in what, 3v5 retake situation there? I mean, I can hear people screaming as well in the arena.
So funny, man. Foot well supported, of course. Everywhere they go. It'd be a shame not to see them reach the stage, but as it stands, just the first round of Swiss here. T1 looking to join the likes of Heretics, Cloud9, and now G2. Just a round away, and with plenty of ults to spend.
Ults to spend, and ults used straight off the bat, Hazza.
Atta Captain is by himself in backside, but it's Meteor here, and it feels like a fair 1v1 as the situation presents itself. Atta Captain yet to clear this portion of the site. Meteor closing that gap, creeping in on Atta Captain's position. He doesn't find the kill, it's Izu instead. Hunter's Fury trying to follow up on the controller, but the situation is out of hand. T1 getting ready to move forward in Swiss. Mr. Fallen to stop their success from continuing. The play-in stage could have been a momentum builder for the Turkish squad, but for T1, this off-season has never stopped. From GES to home ground now on Berlin soil. Mr. Fallen's locked in the corner, and of course, it's Meteor to close.
เป็นไง T1 นี่พี่
โอ้ของจริงว่ะ T1
เมื่อต้นปี T1 ตอนนี้เป็นไง
T1 ตอนนี้
จากหน้ามือเป็นหลังตีน
คนละเรื่องเลย อันนี้คือพรุ่งนี้มันจะชนะแพ้เจอแพ้ใช่ไหมสวิต
ใช่
สเตทผู้อย่างนี้มันนะเนี่ย
ไปแล้วแช
ไม่
ท
ได้จับฉลากใช่ไหม
ไม่แน่ใจ เจอกันบายบายพรุ่งนี้วันดีราตรีสวัสดิ์ครับเที่ยงคืนครึ่งพอดี ขอบคุณครับที่มาดู
โอ้ที่วันโหดจัดเลยว่ะ
บายบาย ขอบคุณนะครับขอบคุณที่มาดูกันนะ
ชุด
ค
หลั
รั
ก
บ
นี่ดีชุดหลัก